It was just another day at Tesla's headquarters in Palo Alto, California, or so it seemed. The usual buzz of productivity was replaced by an eerie silence as employees shuffled through the corridors, each glancing at their phones, their screens filled with the same thing. A single headline, repeated across every news outlet and social media platform. Tesla drops a bombshell, Elon Musk's future at the company in jeopardy. Elon Musk had never been one to shy away from controversy. Over the years, his bold decisions and seemingly impossible goals had earned him both adoration and scorn. But this time, this wasn't just another public spat or a risky bet, it was something far more serious. What had Tesla just done? The announcement had come completely out of the blue. For years, Musk had been the face of the company, the visionary who not only revolutionized the electric car industry but had his sights set on changing the future of transportation itself. But now, Tesla had made a move so audacious, so unexpected, that it was sending shockwaves through the entire business world. The news broke early that morning. Tesla's board had taken an unprecedented step by announcing a restructuring initiative. Musk, the very man who had built Tesla from the ground up, was no longer guaranteed to remain at the helm. The decision had come from the board itself, with vague hints that his leadership style no longer aligned with the company's future goals. For Musk, the news was a punch to the gut. His reputation, his life's work, all on the line. How could something like this happen? Tesla was his brainchild, and he'd fought tooth and nail for its survival. This wasn't just about a business deal or a minor shift in strategy, this was about his very identity, his legacy. As the story spread like wildfire, the world couldn't help but wonder, what happens next? Could this be the beginning of the end for Tesla? Or would Musk rise from the ashes, just as he had so many times before? But before diving deeper into the fallout, let's rewind for a moment and take a closer look at the man at the center of this storm, Elon Musk. To understand the gravity of the situation, we need to look back at Elon Musk's journey, the rise, the fall, and the eventual triumph that led to the creation of one of the most innovative companies in the world. Born in Pretoria, South Africa, Musk had always been driven by an insatiable curiosity. As a child, he devoured books, taught himself programming, and imagined a future far beyond the borders of his small hometown. It was clear from an early age that Musk was not like other kids. He wasn't interested in the typical childhood pursuits. His mind was focused on a bigger vision, something far greater than anyone around him could comprehend. After moving to the United States to attend the University of Pennsylvania, Musk quickly became a figure that couldn't be ignored. His ability to see patterns, to predict the future of technology, and to envision solutions to the world's biggest problems set him apart from others in his field. It wasn't long before he became involved in the world of Silicon Valley startups. In the late 1990s, Musk co-founded Zip2, a software company that helped newspapers create an online presence. The sale of Zip2 to Compaq for nearly $300 million in 1999 gave Musk the financial freedom to pursue his next big idea. That idea? Online payments. In 1999, he launched X.com, a company focused on online payments. A few years later, X.com merged with Confinity, a company that had developed a money transfer service called PayPal. In 2002, eBay acquired PayPal for $1.5 billion, making Musk a wealthy man. But instead of resting on his laurels, he was already dreaming bigger. Musk's next venture was Tesla. In 2003, after joining the company as its largest investor, he quickly became its driving force. Tesla wasn't just about building electric cars, it was about revolutionizing the entire transportation industry. Musk's vision was ambitious, to say the least. He wanted to prove that electric vehicles, EVs, could be just as desirable, practical, and efficient as traditional gasoline-powered cars. It wasn't easy. Musk's leadership style was controversial, he demanded perfection, and his intense drive often led to conflicts with employees and investors. Tesla faced numerous challenges, from production delays to financial struggles. There were times when the company seemed on the verge of collapse. Yet Musk, undeterred, continued pushing forward, even when it seemed impossible. By 2010, Tesla had gone public, and the world was starting to take notice. The Tesla Roadster, a high-performance electric sports car, was a massive success. But Musk's vision didn't stop there. He had grand plans for the future, including the creation of a more affordable electric vehicle, the Model S, and eventually, a mass-market electric car, the Model 3. Despite the odds, Musk succeeded. Tesla became a symbol of innovation, and Musk was celebrated as a visionary, a modern-day Thomas Edison. But this latest bombshell? It shook the very foundation of everything he'd built. As the news of Tesla's restructuring spread, the details were scant. The official statement from Tesla's board was vague, offering little in the way of clarity. The phrase, restructuring initiative, seemed harmless enough on the surface, but the implications were profound. Tesla was at a crossroads. For the first time in its history, it seemed like Musk's leadership might not be the answer to the company's future. Tesla's rapid growth had created new challenges, and the board felt that Musk's hands-on, sometimes unpredictable approach might no longer be the right fit. Musk was blindsided. He'd spent years building relationships with the board, with investors, and with his team. How could they possibly doubt him now? Hadn't he brought Tesla to the heights it had reached? His innovation had pushed the boundaries of technology. His drive had fueled the company through some of its darkest hours. And yet, here he was, questioned by the very people who had once been his greatest supporters. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Before the storm, there was always calm. But for Elon Musk, that calm was always short-lived. His mind never rested, it was always focused on what could be next. To understand how Musk found himself at the center of Tesla's greatest challenge, it was necessary to look back, long before the bombshell announcement that had rattled the very foundation of the company. Elon Musk's life had never followed the conventional path. Born in Pretoria, South Africa, Musk was an outsider from the very beginning. A natural-born dreamer, he was often described as different by those who knew him. While other children played outside, Musk buried himself in books, teaching himself to code and devouring stories about space travel and the future of humanity. His father, Errol Musk, was a wealthy engineer, and his mother, May, a model and dietitian. Musk had a complicated relationship with his father, a distant figure who never seemed to understand Elon's ambitions. His mother, however, was a constant source of support, encouraging his intellectual curiosity. But, even in his early years, Musk could feel a fire burning inside him, a drive to create, to innovate, and to leave a lasting mark on the world. Musk's journey into technology began in earnest when he left South Africa and moved to Canada at the age of 17, before eventually attending the University of Pennsylvania in the U.S. There, he earned degrees in both economics and physics, two fields that would lay the groundwork for his future ventures. It was at Penn that Musk's entrepreneurial spirit truly emerged. His first venture, a company called Zip2, aimed to help newspapers create an online presence. Despite the odds, Musk's relentless drive and brilliant mind turned Zip2 into a success. In 1999, Compaq bought the company for $307 million, providing Musk with the seed capital to fund his next big idea, online payments. With the founding of X.com in 1999, Musk set his sights on revolutionizing financial transactions. X.com eventually morphed into PayPal, a platform that would change the way people moved money online. In 2002, eBay acquired PayPal for $1.5 billion in stock, making Musk a multimillionaire by the age of 30. But rather than taking his newfound wealth and retiring in luxury, Musk had only one thing on his mind: changing the world. Tesla was born from this vision. Musk didn't start Tesla. He was an investor, its largest investor. In 2004, just a year after PayPal's sale, Musk joined Tesla Motors, a fledgling company founded by engineers Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning. At the time, electric vehicles, EVs, were seen as little more than a niche market. Conventional wisdom dictated that the idea of a fully electric car, capable of competing with gasoline-powered vehicles, was nothing but a pipe dream. But Musk, ever the visionary, didn't see things the way others did. His plan was simple: create an electric car that didn't just rival traditional vehicles but would surpass them. The first vehicle Tesla launched was the Roadster, a high-performance sports car with a range far beyond anything that had come before it. The Roadster defied expectations, proving that EVs could be not only practical but desirable. But the success of the Roadster came at a price. The company was burning through cash at an alarming rate, and many thought Tesla would never make it past the prototype phase. Investors were skeptical, and the media was relentless in its criticism of Musk and his company's ambitious goals. Despite the challenges, Musk pushed forward. In 2008, Tesla unveiled the Model S, a more affordable electric sedan. This was the car that would truly change the game. Yet, even with the Model S, Tesla was far from being in the clear. The company faced one crisis after another: production delays, financial troubles, and increasing competition from other automakers. But Elon Musk was no stranger to adversity. Each setback only fueled his determination to succeed. Time and time again, Musk risked everything: his reputation, his wealth, and even his personal well-being, to keep Tesla afloat. In 2010, Tesla went public with an IPO, and the Model S became a reality. But it wasn't just the car's performance that impressed the world, it was the relentless vision Musk had for the future. With every move Musk made, he was reshaping not just the auto industry but the future of humanity. For Musk, Tesla was never just about making money. It was about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. He had an even grander vision in mind, one that involved creating a fleet of electric cars that would reduce global dependence on fossil fuels and mitigate the effects of climate change. In the years that followed, Tesla's rise was nothing short of remarkable. The Model 3, Tesla's mass-market vehicle, hit production in 2017, and its success brought the company to a new level of prominence. Musk had transformed Tesla from a struggling startup into one of the world's most valuable automakers. With a growing portfolio that included energy storage solutions, solar products, and plans for autonomous driving, Tesla had become a symbol of technological progress. Musk's personal journey was just as eventful. A relentless work ethic, combined with his bold personality, made him a polarizing figure. Some saw him as a genius, a modern-day inventor worthy of being in the same conversation as Edison or Tesla. Others saw him as reckless, arrogant, and sometimes out of touch with reality. But one thing was certain: Musk was never afraid to push the envelope. As Tesla's CEO, Musk had become synonymous with the company's identity. His Twitter account was a direct channel to the world, where he regularly shared his thoughts, ideas, and controversial statements. Tesla's stock price fluctuated with his every word, making him both a hero and a villain in the eyes of investors, fans, and critics alike. Despite the challenges and controversies, Musk continued to push forward, always with his eye on the horizon. From building the world's largest lithium-ion battery factory, the Gigafactory, to developing the Tesla Cybertruck, Musk's vision seemed limitless. Tesla was no longer just a car company, it was a tech giant, and Musk was its undisputed leader. But even with all of Tesla's success, the question remained: could Musk continue to lead Tesla into the future? His unorthodox leadership style had worked in the past, but as the company grew, so too did the complexity of the challenges it faced. Would his approach still be enough to keep Tesla at the top? Or was it time for change? The seeds of uncertainty were already beginning to sprout within the company, long before the board's shocking announcement. As Tesla expanded, so did the pressure on Musk to meet increasingly lofty expectations. The company was no longer just about electric cars, it was about reshaping entire industries. Musk's decision-making was often criticized as impulsive, driven by gut instincts rather than careful deliberation. The same passion that made him a visionary also made him unpredictable. As Tesla's success grew, so did its internal struggles. Tensions within the company began to surface, employees grew disillusioned with Musk's demanding leadership style, while the board of directors began to question whether his unorthodox methods would still be effective in the face of growing competition and market pressures. Still, Musk remained unfazed. He was a man driven by his vision, one that transcended the typical corporate structure. But as Tesla reached new heights, the company was also entering uncharted territory that would soon push Musk to his breaking point. The day began like any other at Tesla's Palo Alto headquarters. The sun hung low over the horizon, casting a warm, golden glow over the sprawling campus. Inside the glass-walled offices, Tesla's engineers, designers, and executives were immersed in their work. The hum of productivity was punctuated by the occasional call or email, but overall, there was a sense of quiet routine. Yet, beneath the surface, tensions were mounting. The winds of change were blowing in, and they had started to pick up speed. People in the industry had begun whispering about a shift in the direction of Tesla. Was Musk's influence starting to wane? Was his leadership style becoming too erratic for a company of Tesla's size and influence? The boardroom had been tense in recent weeks. At Tesla's latest board meeting, the executives had sat in silence, the weight of an unspoken conversation hanging heavy in the air. Tesla had reached new heights, becoming the world's most valuable automaker, but as the company expanded, so did the complexity of its operations. The challenges were mounting, and many board members were beginning to question Musk's unconventional, sometimes impulsive, approach to leadership. They'd seen the headlines, the occasional public outbursts on Twitter, the failed production deadlines, the harsh emails sent to employees, the controversial decisions that were met with mixed reactions. But there had always been one thing that kept Musk firmly in control: results. Every time Tesla hit a new milestone, every new car model released, every factory built, every groundbreaking achievement, it was Musk's bold leadership that had driven the company forward. But now, as Tesla faced the challenges of mass production, supply chain issues, and fierce competition from legacy automakers, the question arose: could Musk continue to lead Tesla into its next phase of growth? In the weeks leading up to the bombshell announcement, Elon Musk had begun to feel the pressure building. He had always prided himself on his ability to work long hours, to stay focused on the big picture, and to push through adversity. But something felt different this time. He had a nagging feeling that he couldn't shake. The weight of the world was on his shoulders. The future of Tesla was at stake, and so was his own legacy. Would Tesla continue to revolutionize the world, or would it falter under the strain of its own success? Musk was never one to shy away from difficult decisions. He had faced impossible odds before, and he had always come out on top. But the situation Tesla found itself in now felt different. The company had reached a critical juncture, and for the first time, Musk found himself questioning if he was the right person to lead it forward. Late one night, in the solitude of his office, Musk stared out the window at the distant lights of the city. His thoughts drifted back to the early days of Tesla, those sleepless nights spent in a small office, the endless pitch meetings, the skepticism from investors, the constant pressure to prove that Tesla wasn't just a pipe dream. Back then, he'd fought tooth and nail to build something that could change the world. He had created Tesla not just as a car company but as a force for good. He was determined to prove that electric vehicles weren't just a novelty but a viable alternative to gasoline-powered cars. And with each milestone, each breakthrough, Tesla had gotten closer to realizing that dream. But now, Tesla was no longer the underdog. It was a corporate giant, and giants came with their own set of problems. The media, once enamored with Musk's genius, now scrutinized every move he made. The board, once fully aligned with his vision, had begun to question whether his leadership style was still the right fit. Musk knew the board was restless. They wanted change, whether he liked it or not. But the question was, what kind of change? He'd always led with conviction, with his gut guiding every decision, but now it seemed like that wasn't enough. There were murmurs in the halls about a new era for Tesla, one that might not involve Musk in the same way. The first signs of trouble appeared during a meeting that Musk had with the Tesla board several weeks ago. The topic was Tesla's future growth, specifically its efforts to ramp up production of the Model 3, Tesla's mass-market vehicle. The Model 3 was supposed to be Tesla's ticket to the mainstream, an affordable electric car that could be mass-produced and sold to the average consumer. But production delays had plagued the company for months, and Musk's unrelenting push for perfection had led to more frustration than results. At the meeting, one of the board members, a prominent investor, raised concerns about Musk's hands-on approach. He argued that Tesla needed to adopt a more traditional corporate structure, one that wasn't so dependent on Musk's daily involvement in every detail. Musk bristled at the suggestion. He had always been deeply involved in Tesla's operations, from product design to production to marketing. His passion for the company had been its driving force, and he wasn't about to step back now. But the board member's words lingered in his mind long after the meeting had ended. Was it time for Musk to step back? Could he afford to trust others with the reins of Tesla? Or was he still the only one who could lead the company to its next big breakthrough? The truth was, Musk had begun to feel the weight of his own expectations. He was constantly running at full speed, balancing Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and the Boring Company. His life had become an endless series of challenges, each one more daunting than the last. And while his passion had never wavered, there were moments when he questioned if he could keep up with the relentless pace of innovation. As the days passed, Musk's thoughts grew more intense. He couldn't ignore the growing tension at Tesla, the whispers in the boardroom, the skepticism in the press. Everything he had worked for was at risk. But there was something even deeper gnawing at him. Was his vision for Tesla still valid? Could he continue to steer the company in the right direction, or had he reached a point where new leadership was necessary? The answer came on the morning of the bombshell announcement. Musk was seated in his office when the email hit his inbox. It was from the Tesla board, and it was brief, to the point. The subject line read, "Restructuring proposal, immediate action required." The email outlined the board's concerns about Musk's leadership and the company's future and proposed a dramatic shift in the company's structure. Tesla was, in essence, pushing for a future without Musk at the helm. Musk sat back in his chair, stunned. He had always known that the pressure to lead would eventually reach a tipping point. But he hadn't expected it to come so soon, or so abruptly. The email was a stark reminder of how quickly the tides could turn in the world of business. The moment felt like a crossroads, one that would define not only Musk's future but the future of Tesla itself. Elon Musk had always been a fighter. Whether it was battling critics in the media, overcoming technical failures at Tesla, or revolutionizing industries with his companies, he was no stranger to adversity. But this was different. This wasn't just a small setback or a tough negotiation. This was the very foundation of his life's work being questioned. The email from the Tesla board had arrived like a thunderclap, shattering the fragile calm Musk had tried to hold on to. He stared at the screen, the words blurring before his eyes. It was almost surreal. His heart raced, but his mind was oddly detached, as if reading someone else's fate. For the first time, he wondered if the relentless pursuit of his vision had led him to a place where the only way forward was not to push harder but to step back. He took a deep breath and hit reply. "I'll see you at the meeting," Musk typed. But the truth was, he wasn't sure what kind of meeting it would be. Could he fight back? Could he hold on to Tesla, or was it time to let go? This was more than a corporate shakeup. This was about the legacy of everything he had built, not just for Tesla, but for the future of humanity. The boardroom was quiet as Musk walked in, the room filled with some of Tesla's most senior executives and board members. The atmosphere was heavy, thick with a tension that even the polished wooden table couldn't disguise. It wasn't the first time Musk had been in this room, but today, it felt different. There were no casual smiles, no jokes, just steely-eyed determination. Musk sat at the head of the table, his fingers tapping nervously on the surface. He had been in countless board meetings before, but none had felt as important as this one. This was no longer about the future of Tesla's latest car model or its quarterly profits. This was about the direction of the entire company and, by extension, his own future. "Thank you for joining, Elon," said Robin Denholm, the chairwoman of Tesla's board. "We wanted to get together to discuss some serious concerns regarding the company's direction and leadership. We've all agreed that the time has come for Tesla to undergo a restructuring process." Musk met her gaze, his eyes narrowing. Restructuring? What does that mean exactly? He knew what they were implying, but he needed them to say it. "We believe," another board member, James Murdoch, spoke up, "that Tesla's growth has outpaced your leadership style. We think it's time for a shift in who's making the final decisions, especially when it comes to day-to-day operations." The words hung in the air, their weight crushing Musk. It was as though the walls of his own company were closing in on him. It was clear now, this wasn't just about his leadership methods. It was about something far more personal. Musk knew this moment had been coming for some time. Tesla had reached unprecedented heights. It was now one of the world's most valuable companies, and with that success came an entirely new set of challenges. Scaling up required a level of precision and traditional corporate oversight that Musk, with his unorthodox methods, had often resisted. But what they didn't understand, what the board didn't understand, was that Musk had always thrived in chaos. He had built Tesla out of nothing, on the back of audacity and a belief that the impossible could be achieved. For him, every breakthrough, every success, had come from a place of pushing boundaries. Musk leaned forward, folding his hands. "If you think you can run Tesla without me at the helm, then you're mistaken. This company exists because of my vision, my work, and my determination to make it succeed. I am not someone who can be replaced. And I certainly won't step aside just because you're uncomfortable with the way I lead." A murmur ran through the room. There was no denying Musk's conviction. It was a fire that had built Tesla from a small startup to a global powerhouse. But the question was, had that fire become too erratic? Was the world's most valuable automaker, with all its complexities, ready to move beyond the figurehead of Elon Musk? Robin Denholm spoke again, this time with more caution in her voice. "Elon, it's not about replacing you, per se. It's about making sure Tesla is positioned for its next phase of growth. The way things have been going lately, production delays, bottlenecks, we can't afford to keep going down this road. We need someone who can manage the business with a level head." "Level head?" Musk repeated, his voice rising. "You think I haven't been trying to manage? Do you think I don't understand the challenges we're facing? But it's not about managing, it's about leading. If you want someone who can push boundaries, take risks, and make the impossible possible, that's me. You don't build a company like this by playing it safe." For a moment, the room fell into silence. The board members exchanged glances, their faces betraying a mix of concern and uncertainty. Musk had always been a force to be reckoned with, but now that force felt like it was veering dangerously out of control. The conversation went on for what felt like hours, the tension rising with each passing minute. Musk's frustration was palpable. He had always believed that the vision he had for Tesla was bigger than anything else. He didn't care about the traditional business models, the expectations of Wall Street, or the cautious approaches that most companies adopted. For him, Tesla was more than a company. It was a revolution. A movement to transform the world for the better. But now, he was being asked to change, to adapt to something that didn't align with his fundamental beliefs about how Tesla should operate. The very foundation of the company felt like it was cracking. But as the meeting continued, Musk began to realize that it wasn't just the board that needed to shift. It was him. He had built Tesla to change the world, but perhaps now, the world was changing around him, and it was time to make a decision. Could he adjust? Could he find a way to evolve Tesla's leadership without losing the essence of what made the company special? He knew that the next steps, whatever they might be, would define the course of Tesla's future. He could continue fighting, digging his heels in, or he could embrace the change. But there was one thing Musk was sure of: he wasn't going down without a fight. The weight of the decision hung over Elon Musk like a storm cloud. The meeting had ended, but the words shared in that room continued to echo in his mind. It felt like the ground had shifted beneath his feet, and the foundation he had worked so hard to build was suddenly unstable. Musk had always been the visionary, the man who saw a future that no one else could, but now, the board, the very people who had helped make Tesla the global titan it was today, were questioning that vision. It wasn't just a simple matter of business, this was personal. Tesla was his life's work, the culmination of every sleepless night, every rejected proposal, and every risk he had taken. It was the embodiment of his dream to make electric cars the future. And yet, there was a growing realization that maybe, just maybe, the world was changing faster than he could keep up. As Musk walked out of the boardroom, he took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. He needed clarity, needed to step back and think about what came next. He had built Tesla on the principle of defying the odds, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. But now, as he stood in the bright California sunlight, he felt as if he were staring at a crossroads. Should he dig in his heels and fight for control, or should he allow Tesla to evolve without him? For years, Musk had been the face of Tesla. His eccentric personality, bold statements, and unconventional methods had made him a lightning rod for both admiration and criticism. But, in many ways, Musk had always believed that he was Tesla. His dream was intertwined with the company, and it had propelled him to overcome countless hurdles. But as he sat in his office later that day, contemplating the conversation with the board, something shifted inside him. Could it be that he had outgrown his role at Tesla? Or more precisely, could it be that Tesla had outgrown him? The company had become a behemoth, and the reality was that running such a massive, multifaceted corporation required a level of management that Musk had never been particularly interested in. He had always been the visionary, the innovator, the dreamer who built the impossible. But now, as Tesla transitioned into a new phase of growth, expanding into energy products, artificial intelligence, and autonomous driving, the demands on the company were more than just about making cars. Musk knew that the board wasn't asking him to step down entirely, they were proposing a shift in the leadership structure, a move to bring in someone who could manage the day-to-day operations, while Musk could continue to focus on the innovation and long-term goals. It wasn't the end of Tesla, nor was it the end of his involvement, but it was a shift nonetheless. And that shift was hard to accept. He picked up his phone, dialing a number he had called many times before, J.B. Straubel, Tesla's co-founder and former CTO. The two had worked together for over a decade, and Straubel had been Musk's right hand during some of Tesla's most critical moments. Musk needed to talk it out. "Hey, JB, Musk said when Straubel answered. "Can you meet me? I need your advice." "Of course," Straubel replied, his voice calm, but with a touch of concern. "What's going on?" Musk didn't waste any time once they sat down in a quiet cafe later that afternoon. "The board wants me to step back," he said bluntly, his voice tinged with frustration. "They think Tesla needs a more traditional leadership structure. They want someone to manage the day-to-day operations while I focus on the bigger picture." Straubel took a deep breath, processing the news. "I can't say I'm entirely surprised," he said carefully. "Tesla has grown so quickly, and it's become so complex. Maybe the board is right, but that doesn't make it any easier to hear." "What are you thinking, Elon?" Musk leaned back, his fingers tapping on the table, eyes focused on nothing in particular. "I don't know," he admitted. "Tesla is my baby, JB. I've poured everything into it. But what if they're right? What if I need to step aside? Or at least step back?" Straubel studied his friend for a long moment. "Elon, You've been the driving force behind Tesla since day one. You've always followed your instincts, and that's what got you here. But you've also surrounded yourself with some incredible people who can help take this company forward. You don't have to let go completely to stay involved, but maybe it's time to evolve the role. You can still push the vision, still innovate, but trust others to handle the heavy lifting. Musk was silent for a moment, contemplating Straubel's words. The idea of letting go was alien to him, but the more he thought about it, the more it began to make sense. Tesla had grown far beyond a single person's vision. It was a massive ecosystem of innovation, and maybe it was time for the company to evolve in a way that allowed him to focus on what he did best, creating the next big breakthrough. Maybe you're right, Musk said, his voice softer than usual. But it's hard. It feels like I'm giving up control. You're not giving up control, Elon, Straubel said with a reassuring smile. You're just giving others the chance to step up. You've built a foundation, and now it's time for Tesla to build on it. And you're still going to be at the helm, just in a different way. Musk nodded slowly. It was still a difficult pill to swallow, but Straubel's words offered a sense of comfort, a glimmer of hope. Perhaps the future of Tesla didn't need to rely on him being everywhere all the time. Perhaps the future could involve him in a new capacity, one where he could focus on innovation, pushing the boundaries of what was possible, without being buried in the day-to-day operations. The next few days were a blur of meetings, calls, and late-night reflection. Musk spoke with several key members of his team, including some of the top executives and engineers who had helped Tesla reach the heights it had. They all echoed the same sentiment: Tesla needed a shift in leadership structure, but that didn't mean abandoning Musk's vision. In the end, Musk realized that this might be the right time for a new chapter, for both himself and for Tesla. The company had become more than just a car manufacturer. It was an ecosystem, a force for change, and it needed more than just a visionary at the top. It needed someone who could help manage its growing operations, someone who could implement the vision Musk had created. Elon Musk wasn't done yet. He wasn't stepping away. He was simply changing the way he led. And as he sat in his office late one night, drafting an email to the Tesla team about the upcoming restructuring, he felt a new sense of purpose. This was the dawn of a new era, not just for Tesla, but for himself as well. And the world was watching. The days after Elon Musk's decision to embrace the restructuring were both a whirlwind and a moment of calm. For years, he had been the face of Tesla, the undeniable force that had propelled the company from a small electric car startup to a global powerhouse. But now, as the company continued to grow, Musk was slowly realizing that the next stage of Tesla's evolution required a different kind of leadership. He wasn't walking away, he was transitioning into a role that would allow the company to flourish without being shackled by the limitations of a single man's vision. The first major shift came quickly: the announcement that Tesla would be hiring a new Chief Operating Officer, COO, to oversee day-to-day operations. Musk would remain the CEO, still driving the company's vision and innovation, but someone else would handle the complex machinery of running the business. His longtime confidant, J.B. Straubel, had always been a sounding board for Musk, but now Musk needed someone who could stand alongside him in a more formal capacity. It was a difficult decision, but one Musk knew was necessary if Tesla was to survive and thrive in an increasingly competitive market. The news was met with mixed reactions. Investors and analysts saw it as a positive development, believing that Musk's role should focus on what he did best, innovating and thinking long-term, while leaving the day-to-day management to someone more suited for the task. Tesla's stock price surged in the days that followed the announcement, a clear sign that the market was responding favorably to the move. But for Musk, it wasn't that simple. Musk spent the following days talking with key members of his inner circle, trusted allies who had been with him since the earliest days of Tesla. They had seen the highs and lows, the battles and triumphs, and had always believed in the vision Musk had for a cleaner, more sustainable future. Are you sure about this? Francesca asked as she sipped her coffee in Musk's private office, the walls lined with blueprints and models of Tesla vehicles. I know the board pushed you, but this feels like a big shift. Musk leaned back in his chair, staring at the wall of technological advancements he had helped bring to life. I know it's big. It's huge. But I also know that I can't keep doing everything. I've been stretched too thin. Tesla is becoming more than just cars, it's about energy, AI, Mars, everything. And if I'm honest with myself, I've been holding the company back in some ways. I need to evolve. Tesla needs to evolve. Francesca was silent for a long moment, processing his words. She had always respected Musk's vision, even when it seemed impossible. But this was a different kind of change, a shift away from the chaos Musk had thrived in. You've always been the one to lead, Elon. It's hard to picture Tesla without you at the helm in the same way. I'm not leaving, Francesca, Musk said quietly. I'm just changing. Shifting to where I can still make the biggest impact. I've built Tesla to the point where it needs more than just one person driving it. I can't be in every meeting, handling every decision. But I can still dream the future. I can still guide the ship. Francesca nodded, understanding the weight of what Musk was saying. And you think this will work? You think the board will back you? Musk gave a wry smile. They'll have to. This isn't just about my ego. It's about Tesla's survival. I can't do it all. The announcement came just a few days later. Melissa Hayes, a former executive at a leading tech firm, would be joining Tesla as the new COO. Hayes had spent years at the helm of some of Silicon Valley's most successful startups, and her track record in scaling operations was unparalleled. But there was one thing that made her stand out to Musk: she had a proven ability to manage complexity without stifling innovation. Her reputation as a leader who could balance growth and creativity was exactly what Tesla needed. Musk and Hayes met for the first time in a sleek conference room at Tesla's headquarters, and despite the initial awkwardness of two leaders with strong personalities sitting across from each other, Musk immediately recognized something in Hayes, someone who could challenge him and hold their ground. Melissa, Musk began, I'll be upfront. I've built this company from the ground up. Tesla is my baby, and I've been through hell and back to get it to where it is today. But I can't keep doing everything. This company has grown beyond anything I ever imagined, and I need someone who can step in and handle the day-to-day so I can focus on where we're going next. Hayes smiled confidently, her eyes sharp and focused. I get it. Tesla is unlike any other company. It's ambitious, it's risky, and it's changing the world. But I didn't take this job just because I want to be another cog in the machine. I'm here because I believe in your vision, Elon. I believe in what we can do together. Musk studied her for a moment, then nodded slowly. All right, Melissa. We're in this together. With the arrival of Hayes, a subtle shift began to take place at Tesla's headquarters. Musk, no longer burdened by the minutiae of daily operations, felt a new sense of freedom. For the first time in a long time, he could focus on what really excited him, innovation. As the head of Tesla's engineering and design teams, Musk could now pour his energy into breakthroughs in battery technology, AI, and autonomous vehicles, while Hayes handled the business side of things. It was a partnership that allowed them to complement each other's strengths. As the months passed, Tesla's operations began to smooth out. Production schedules were met more consistently, supply chain issues were tackled head-on, and the company's global expansion plans gained traction. Musk watched as Hayes made tough but effective decisions, always with the future in mind, never sacrificing Tesla's core principles. But with every step forward, there were also new challenges. The world's most valuable automaker was now a target, not just from competitors but from critics who believed Tesla's dominance would soon be challenged. Whether it was established automakers like Ford and General Motors pushing electric vehicle models, or new startups promising to disrupt the market, Tesla was no longer the only player in the game. And though Musk could step back from the day-to-day, he knew the pressure was on. If Tesla was to continue its leadership in the electric vehicle market, and beyond, he and Hayes would have to stay ahead of the curve. The question was no longer just about surviving, it was about making sure Tesla thrived in an increasingly complex and competitive world. As Musk stared out at the horizon from his office window, he couldn't help but wonder, would this new chapter for Tesla be the key to reshaping the future? Or was the world moving too fast for even the visionaries at Tesla to keep up? The months following the restructuring of Tesla had brought both stability and challenges. Elon Musk, now working more as a visionary and less as a day-to-day manager, began to focus his energy on what truly excited him, the future. His mind was buzzing with new possibilities. Mars. AI. The next generation of electric vehicles. Every innovation he had dreamed of was now within reach. But as Tesla's operations became more streamlined under COO Melissa Hayes, the external world was beginning to take notice of the changes at the electric giant. Tesla's stock price had risen steadily since Hayes' arrival, and the market seemed to respond positively to the newfound structure. Musk felt a wave of relief wash over him. However, it wasn't long before the next challenge emerged. A competitor with a significant market share in the traditional automotive world made a bold announcement. Ford, one of Tesla's biggest rivals, was unveiling its own electric vehicle, something that directly competed with Tesla's flagship Model 3. The news hit the media like a thunderclap, and the tension in the Tesla offices was palpable. Musk, ever the strategist, knew that this was just the beginning. The electric vehicle market was no longer niche, it was rapidly becoming mainstream. And with that mainstream adoption came more players, each vying for their piece of the pie. "Elon, we need to talk," Melissa Hayes said as she entered Musk's office, closing the door behind her. There was a sense of urgency in her tone, and Musk immediately understood why. Ford's announcement was big, but it wasn't just the car. It was the fact that Ford was doubling down on electric vehicles, pouring billions of dollars into its electric future. "I know," Musk replied, looking out the window. He could see the distant skyline of the city, but his mind was a million miles away. This was inevitable. It's just the beginning. But it's also a huge opportunity for us. Hayes sat across from him, her expression serious but calm. "We can't just continue doing what we've always done. The market is changing fast. Our competition isn't just the traditional automakers. It's tech companies, energy firms, and now even legacy manufacturers with deep pockets." Ford's announcement is a warning shot. "I've been expecting it," Musk said, a glimmer of excitement in his eyes. "This is what we've been preparing for. The competition isn't going to just roll over, and neither will we. This is the moment for Tesla to step up and truly differentiate itself." The following weeks were filled with back-and-forth discussions in Tesla's boardrooms and brainstorming sessions in design studios. Musk, with his usual intensity, pushed the engineering teams to rethink everything. How could Tesla stay ahead of its rivals? How could they continue to lead the EV market when so many others were finally entering the fray? Hayes worked tirelessly behind the scenes, streamlining production lines, negotiating new supplier contracts, and ensuring that Tesla's supply chain could meet the demands of growing sales. Musk, meanwhile, was looking beyond just cars. He was obsessed with creating a holistic ecosystem, a future where Tesla was not just the manufacturer of vehicles but the leader in clean energy, autonomous technology, and artificial intelligence. "This is not just about electric cars," Musk told a group of engineers during a team meeting. "We need to think bigger. We need to create the next generation of autonomous vehicles, integrated with our energy solutions, powered by cutting-edge AI. We're not just making cars anymore. We're creating a new way of life." The introduction of Ford's electric vehicle made waves, but it also had the unintended effect of galvanizing Tesla's existing fanbase. Tesla enthusiasts, many of whom had been following Musk's every move for years, rallied around the brand. They were more than just customers, they were believers in a movement. And with each new competitor entering the electric vehicle space, they saw Tesla as the leader, the true innovator. "People don't just buy a Tesla because it's a car," said Francesca Reza, Tesla's chief technology officer, during a company-wide meeting. "They buy into the vision. They buy into a future where energy is sustainable, where technology leads, and where they are part of something bigger than themselves. That's our advantage. That's what sets us apart." Musk, sitting at the head of the table, nodded. "We're not just a car company. We're creating a movement. And movements aren't about products, they're about culture. We need to double down on what makes us unique. Innovation, sustainability, and a future where technology benefits everyone. This is our moment." With the automotive industry waking up to the reality of electric vehicles, Musk was acutely aware that Tesla couldn't just rely on being the first to market anymore. The company had to continue pushing the envelope on innovation, finding new ways to integrate clean energy, artificial intelligence, and self-driving technology into every aspect of daily life. Tesla's first self-driving car prototypes were in testing, and Musk was more excited about the potential for autonomous vehicles than any single car model. But it wasn't just about making a car that could drive itself, it was about creating a world where cars could communicate with each other, learning from every interaction on the road to prevent accidents and improve efficiency. At the same time, Tesla's energy division, which focused on solar products and energy storage, was beginning to show real promise. Musk had long envisioned a future where Tesla wasn't just about electric vehicles, but where it became a central player in the global transition to clean energy. The world wasn't just going to need more electric cars, it was going to need a new grid, a new way of thinking about power generation and storage. Solar. Batteries. Electric cars. All of it has to come together, Musk explained in a rare interview with Bloomberg News. "We're building the infrastructure for a sustainable future. Tesla is no longer just a car company. We're part of something much bigger than that." As the months unfolded, the winds of change were blowing stronger than ever. Tesla was no longer a company that could simply rest on its laurels, it had to evolve faster than its competitors, pushing boundaries in all areas of technology. Musk was determined to ensure that Tesla remained the torchbearer of innovation, constantly one step ahead of anyone who dared to challenge its place at the top. But one thing was clear, the future of Tesla, and possibly the future of transportation itself, was about to change in ways that even Musk hadn't fully envisioned yet. With the competition getting fiercer and new technologies on the horizon, the battle for the future of mobility was just beginning. And in that future, Elon Musk was determined to lead Tesla to a place where it would not only survive but thrive. It was a bold vision, one filled with uncertainty and risk. But for Musk, that uncertainty was what made it exciting. After all, it was in the unknown that the true opportunities lay. As Tesla's future seemed to shine brighter with each passing day, the universe had other plans. After months of rapid growth, innovation, and strategic moves, Tesla hit an unexpected roadblock. It wasn't a competitor that challenged them, but something more subtle, something that had always loomed in the background: regulation. Musk had always known that government regulations were a double-edged sword. On one hand, Tesla had benefited from various incentives and tax breaks meant to encourage clean energy and electric vehicles. On the other hand, the very nature of Tesla's rapid, bold innovation often clashed with regulatory bodies that were slow to adapt to the fast-changing world of technology. This tension boiled over when a Federal Trade Commission (FTC) investigation into Tesla's self-driving technology was launched. The FTC had received a series of complaints alleging that Tesla had overstated the capabilities of its autopilot system, with some drivers accusing the company of misleading the public about the safety and functionality of the technology. The news broke in the middle of a crucial meeting between Musk and Melissa Hayes, who had been discussing expansion plans for Tesla's new energy division. Hayes' phone buzzed relentlessly with incoming notifications, and when she glanced at the screen, she saw the headline: FTC investigation into Tesla's self-driving cars underway. Musk's expression darkened as he read the report. I knew this day would come, he muttered, more to himself than to anyone else in the room. The investigation was a major blow, not just to Tesla's public image but also to its stock value. Within hours, Tesla's shares dropped by over 10%, and the media frenzy took over. Headlines flooded social media platforms, some accusing Musk of being reckless in his pursuit of self-driving technology, while others suggested that Tesla was deliberately misleading consumers about the capabilities of its cars. Musk, ever resilient, tried to stay calm. He called an emergency meeting with Tesla's legal and PR teams. "We need to address this head-on," Musk said, pacing the room. "If we let this go without a clear response, it will be the death of Tesla. We can't allow fear and misinformation to define us." Hayes, who had been quieter during the meeting, spoke up. "Elon, this is bigger than just a PR issue. We're talking about the very credibility of our technology. If we can't prove that our self-driving system is safe, it could delay everything we've worked toward. Investors, regulators, the public, everyone will lose trust." "I'm not afraid of the challenge," Musk said, his voice firm. "We'll prove them wrong. We'll open up the data, the research, the testing. We've done the work, and we'll show it. No one knows more about this technology than we do. The future is autonomous vehicles, and we won't let anyone stop us." Musk knew that the road ahead would be difficult. Tesla had always been a company that pushed the boundaries of what was possible, but sometimes, pushing those boundaries meant stepping into uncharted territory. Self-driving technology was one of those areas. While many saw it as the future of transportation, others, including regulators, saw it as something too dangerous, too unpredictable. Tesla's autopilot system had saved lives, that much was undeniable. However, accidents involving Tesla vehicles with autopilot engaged had garnered significant media attention, and that attention was now feeding into the public debate about the technology's safety. The investigation threatened to halt the momentum Tesla had built in this area, potentially forcing the company to slow down its autonomous driving developments or face significant legal consequences. To Musk, this felt like a setback, but only in the short term. "We'll make it through this," he said to his team, determined to hold his ground. Tesla's been through worse. As Tesla's team rallied to respond to the investigation, the public reaction was mixed. While many Tesla owners defended the company, emphasizing the life-saving aspects of the technology and its constant updates, others were more critical. Some questioned Musk's ambition, accusing him of rushing the technology to market before it was fully ready for widespread use. The criticism was tough to ignore, but Musk refused to back down. He took to Twitter, as he often did, and posted a series of tweets addressing the situation directly. He shared a video showcasing Tesla's rigorous safety testing and the advancements that had been made in improving the autopilot system. "Innovation isn't easy, and it's never been without risk," Musk tweeted. "But it's also how we move humanity forward. Tesla won't back down from this challenge." But the damage had already been done. Tesla's public image had taken a hit. For a company that had built its reputation on cutting-edge technology and visionary leadership, facing this kind of scrutiny was uncharted territory. As the investigation continued, Hayes became increasingly involved in shaping Tesla's response. She knew that if Tesla was going to weather the storm, the company needed to be transparent and cooperative with the authorities while also protecting its core values. One evening, after a long day of meetings, Hayes sat down with Musk to discuss a strategy. "We need to think about how we can rebuild trust with both regulators and consumers," she said. "This can't just be about defending ourselves, it has to be about showcasing the positive impact our technology is having." Musk listened intently. "What are you suggesting?" "We've been so focused on pushing boundaries that we've neglected the people who matter most, our customers and the public. We need a bold move. A press conference, a demonstration, something that shows our commitment to safety. We can't just rely on words, we need to show them our vision. Prove that Tesla is not just another tech company, but the company that's building the future, responsibly." Musk nodded, impressed by the thoughtfulness of Hayes' approach. "I'll take it from here. Let's do it." The press conference Musk held a week later was unlike any other he had ever done. It wasn't filled with his usual bravado, but instead a deep sense of responsibility. The event opened with Musk detailing the steps Tesla had taken to ensure safety in their vehicles, including an in-depth look at the autopilot system's crash prevention features, continuous improvements, and the latest advancements in artificial intelligence designed to make the cars safer with every update. "We've always said that Tesla is about the future," Musk told the gathered crowd. "But the future doesn't come without its challenges. And sometimes, it's not about being first, it's about being responsible. We are committed to getting it right." Tesla released new data from recent tests that demonstrated the system's capacity to prevent accidents in certain scenarios, along with testimonials from customers who had experienced firsthand the life-saving potential of autopilot. The press conference ended with Musk reassuring the public that Tesla would cooperate fully with the investigation and take whatever steps necessary to make their technology even safer. The weeks that followed the press conference were tense, but something remarkable began to happen. Public perception started to shift. Tesla's stock rebounded, and while the investigation wasn't over, it became clear that the company was willing to own its mistakes, learn from them, and continue pushing forward. The transparency Tesla had shown helped rebuild trust, and even some of the harshest critics began to acknowledge the company's commitment to safety and innovation. Musk knew this was just one battle in a much larger war. But one thing had become crystal clear to him: Tesla's journey was not about avoiding setbacks, it was about how they responded to those setbacks. And in that, Tesla was proving something far greater: the future of mobility, despite all its risks and challenges, was still Tesla's to define. The dust was beginning to settle after the FTC investigation, and Tesla had proven to the world that it could survive even the harshest scrutiny. Elon Musk, as always, took the situation in stride, but there was something different about the way he approached it this time. The relentless drive to push boundaries remained, but it was now tempered with a new understanding: Tesla couldn't afford to go it alone anymore. The stakes were higher than ever, and the vision for the future of transportation had grown even more complex. Musk had always been a lone wolf, a visionary who thrived on his ability to outthink, outwork, and outmaneuver everyone else. But as Tesla expanded its footprint in the global market and its ambitions reached farther into energy, AI, and beyond, Musk began to realize that he couldn't carry the weight of this future alone. Tesla's growth demanded an entirely new approach to leadership, one that would allow for more collaboration, more delegation, and more voices at the table. It was time to make some changes. Musk's first step toward this new approach was a bold one. He decided to bring in Sophie Zhang, a seasoned executive from the tech world, to head up Tesla's AI and autonomous systems division. Sophie had a reputation for being one of the sharpest minds in artificial intelligence and had worked at several major tech companies, including Google and Apple. Her track record of managing large teams and driving innovation had made her the perfect candidate to lead Tesla's efforts in one of the most crucial areas of its future. Sophie's arrival marked the beginning of a broader shift in Tesla's leadership structure. While Musk remained at the helm, he had begun surrounding himself with a diverse group of executives who could manage the increasing complexity of Tesla's operations. The company needed experts in everything from energy storage and solar power to manufacturing and marketing, and Musk was ready to embrace a more collaborative approach. It wasn't just about bringing in people who could handle the technical aspects, it was about creating a culture of leadership that could navigate the growing pressure from regulators, competitors, and shareholders. Tesla was at the crossroads of a major transformation, and its leaders would need to be more agile and capable than ever before. The first time Sophie Zhang met with Musk, they spent hours discussing the future of autonomous driving. Musk, always passionate about the potential of AI in transforming transportation, was impressed by Sophie's depth of understanding and her forward-thinking approach. She wasn't just interested in making Tesla's cars drive themselves, she was thinking about the broader implications of autonomous technology for society. "Sophie, you're not just building a car that drives itself," Musk said during their conversation, his voice tinged with admiration. "You're building the backbone of a new world. This could change everything, from how people get around to how cities are structured. I need you to think beyond cars, think about mobility itself." Sophie smiled. "I get it. Autonomous driving isn't just a product. It's an ecosystem. It's about integrating our cars with smart infrastructure, data, and AI. It's about creating a system that learns, adapts, and improves over time. We can make cities safer, more efficient, and more sustainable." With Sophie leading the charge in AI, Musk turned his attention to the energy side of Tesla's business. Solar power and battery storage had always been part of Tesla's vision, but they were often overshadowed by the company's electric vehicle ambitions. Now, Musk knew that the future of the company, and perhaps the future of the world, depended on how effectively Tesla could integrate its energy solutions with its electric vehicles. The key, he realized, was to build a seamless network where Tesla's electric cars could charge using solar energy stored in Tesla's Powerwall systems, powered by the sun. This wasn't just about having a sustainable car, it was about creating an entire ecosystem where energy was produced, stored, and used in a clean, efficient way. "We need to create energy independence for consumers," Musk said in a company-wide meeting. "Tesla's cars will be powered by Tesla Energy. Our homes will be powered by Tesla. It's all connected. This is the future." As Tesla's leadership began to settle into this new structure, and as the company focused on creating a holistic, integrated ecosystem of sustainable energy in transportation, a new crisis emerged, one that no one had anticipated. A major cyber attack hit Tesla's systems, infiltrating everything from the company's vehicle software to its energy grid. The hackers, a well-organized group with advanced technical knowledge, managed to break into Tesla's network and demand a ransom for the company's data. This wasn't just a simple hack, it was an attempt to disrupt Tesla's operations on a global scale. The timing couldn't have been worse. Tesla was in the middle of a crucial launch for its new energy product, a solar roof that could integrate directly with Powerwall units. The attack sent shockwaves through the company's operations. Every part of Tesla's infrastructure was at risk. If the hackers succeeded in holding the company's data hostage, it could bring Tesla's entire operations to a halt. Musk was furious. "How did this happen? We've got the best security in the world. Who are these people?" he demanded as he gathered with his top security officers. "We're dealing with professionals," Sophie Zhang said, looking over the security logs. "This is an attack on a much larger scale than we anticipated. They've gained access to our vehicle networks, too. If we don't act fast, we could have real-world consequences for our customers." Musk knew they had to act swiftly. The first order of business was to contain the breach, protect the customer data, and prevent the hackers from gaining access to critical systems. The second was to make sure that this never happened again. "We're going to do whatever it takes to get Tesla back online and stronger than ever," Musk said, determination in his voice. "No one will bring us down. Not today, not ever." Tesla's cybersecurity team, along with external experts, worked around the clock to secure Tesla's systems. Within a few days, the breach was contained, and the hackers were neutralized, but the damage had been done. The public learned about the attack, and once again, Tesla found itself in the media spotlight. This time, however, the reaction was different. People weren't questioning the safety of Tesla's cars or the capability of its self-driving technology, they were impressed by how quickly the company had responded and regained control of the situation. In a statement to the press, Musk said, "We've learned from this experience, and we're only going to get stronger. Tesla isn't just about electric cars or clean energy. It's about resilience, innovation, and never backing down. This attack won't stop us. It's only made us more determined to push forward." While the cyber attack was a setback, it also served as a wake-up call for Tesla. The company needed to adapt and grow, not just in terms of technology, but also in its ability to protect itself and its customers from threats in the digital age. Musk knew that Tesla's future was no longer just about building great products, it was about ensuring that the company could continue to lead in a world where cybersecurity and data privacy were paramount. As Tesla picked up the pieces from the attack and moved forward with its new leadership structure, it became clear that the company was on the verge of something even bigger. Musk's vision for the future of sustainable energy and autonomous mobility was becoming clearer, and with the right team in place, Tesla was ready to change the world once again. The cyber attack was behind them, but the damage to Tesla's public image lingered. The media buzzed about the incident, and though the company had weathered the storm, it was clear that the world was watching more closely than ever before. For Elon Musk, this was just another obstacle in the grand journey of Tesla, a company that was more than just a car manufacturer, more than just an energy provider. Tesla was a symbol of the future, and the road ahead demanded bolder actions than ever. Elon Musk sat in his office late at night, staring out over the city skyline. It was a quiet moment, something that was rare for him. The bustling world of innovation, deadlines, and pressure usually left no room for such stillness. But tonight, as he looked out over the lights of the city, something felt different. The world was on the precipice of something massive, something transformative, and Tesla was poised to lead that charge. Musk had always had a grand vision for Tesla, one that went beyond electric cars and solar panels. He wanted to change the way the world viewed energy, transportation, and sustainability. He wanted to move humanity toward a future where we were no longer dependent on fossil fuels and where technological innovation didn't just make life easier, but better for the planet and future generations. As he sat there, he realized that the next step in Tesla's evolution was not just about new products, but about creating an entirely new ecosystem, one that would blend electric vehicles, renewable energy, AI, and even urban infrastructure in a way that had never been done before. Musk knew that this would require a massive shift in how the company operated, but he was confident that the right combination of leadership, vision, and technology could make it happen. In a meeting with his leadership team, Musk laid out his bold new vision. Tesla has always been about more than just electric cars, he began, his voice steady but filled with energy. We're here to redefine the future, energy, transportation, and even how people live in cities. But to do that, we need to think even bigger. Sophie Zhang, Tesla's new head of AI and autonomous systems, was the first to speak. Elon, I think I understand where you're going with this. It's not just about having the best cars. It's about creating a whole new ecosystem, one where the car, the energy systems, the infrastructure, and the AI are all interconnected. Musk nodded, excited that Sophie was already aligned with his thinking. Exactly. Imagine a world where every car is connected to the energy grid, where we have autonomous fleets of vehicles providing transportation on demand, and where solar energy is seamlessly integrated into everything from homes to businesses to city grids. He leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with the possibility. We need to build a smart city, one that operates on Tesla's ecosystem, powered by renewable energy, and controlled by the AI that makes our vehicles so smart. This is about creating something that doesn't just survive in the future, but shapes the future. Musk's concept was bold, a completely integrated, sustainable city powered by Tesla technology. The idea was to build a prototype city, a living, breathing example of what the future could look like when powered by electric energy, autonomous vehicles, and AI-driven infrastructure. This city would not just use Tesla's products but would be a testbed for the next generation of technologies. The concept of a Tesla city was not just about creating a smart city. It was about demonstrating that a sustainable, efficient, and autonomous future was not a distant dream but something that could be realized in the here and now. Tesla would provide everything from the energy to the vehicles to the infrastructure, an integrated ecosystem where everything worked together seamlessly. This isn't just about cars or solar panels, Musk said, speaking with passion. It's about creating a living, breathing system that learns, adapts, and evolves. A city that learns from its residents, anticipates their needs, and adapts in real time. The Tesla city will be the proof that our future is cleaner, smarter, and more connected. Over the next few months, Musk and his team began laying the groundwork for the project. They started small, working with urban planners, architects, and engineers to design the infrastructure that would make Tesla City a reality. The first step was finding the right location, a space that was large enough to support a prototype city, but also easily accessible and close enough to existing Tesla factories and resources. After considering several options, Musk and the team decided on a location in the southwestern United States, an area that had a high level of solar potential and a landscape that could support the kind of sustainable, off-the-grid living Tesla envisioned. This city would be built from the ground up, using Tesla's technologies to create a self-sustaining ecosystem where renewable energy, electric vehicles, and smart technologies were the foundation of everyday life. Building a city was no small task. It wasn't just about laying down roads and installing solar panels, it was about integrating everything into one cohesive system. Tesla's engineers worked around the clock, designing not only the energy grid but also the autonomous vehicle network that would serve as the backbone of the city's transportation. Sophie Zhang's team was tasked with developing the AI systems that would manage everything from traffic flow to energy distribution. The cars would communicate with each other in the city's infrastructure, predicting and optimizing routes in real time to ensure that people could get from point A to point B without delay. But the challenges weren't just technical, they were also regulatory. A project like this required approval from local, state, and federal governments. There were zoning laws, environmental regulations, and a host of other legal hurdles to overcome. Musk, never one to shy away from a fight, met with city officials and regulators, making the case that Tesla City wasn't just a business venture, it was a model for the future of urban living. It's not just about building a city, Musk argued during a meeting with local government officials. It's about creating a place where people can live better, cleaner, and smarter lives. This project will change the way we think about cities. It's not just a vision, it's a necessary step forward. One particularly challenging moment came when Tesla received initial pushback from environmental groups who questioned the potential impact of such a large-scale development on the local ecosystem. While Tesla's commitment to sustainability was undeniable, the thought of building an entire city from scratch in an ecologically sensitive area raised concerns. Musk, however, was undeterred. He worked closely with environmental scientists to design a sustainable blueprint for the city, ensuring that it would be powered entirely by renewable energy, use water-saving technologies, and have a minimal environmental footprint. After months of negotiation, regulatory approval was finally granted, and construction on Tesla City began. As construction began, the world began to take notice. The media buzzed with excitement about Musk's ambitious plan, and Tesla's reputation as a trailblazer in technology, sustainability, and innovation was solidified. Tesla City was becoming more than just a project, it was becoming a symbol of what could be achieved when visionary thinking, cutting-edge technology, and bold action came together. For Musk, it wasn't just about the city itself, it was about proving to the world that the future could be reshaped, that a sustainable, intelligent future was possible, and that Tesla would be at the center of it all. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? The announcement of Tesla City, a fully autonomous, sustainable city powered by Tesla's technology, sent shockwaves around the world. The media, which had once been skeptical of Musk's grand ideas, now celebrated him as one of the greatest innovators of the modern era. Tesla wasn't just building cars anymore, it was shaping the future of human civilization. The world watched closely as the project began to take shape. Musk, however, had no time to bask in the glory of the headlines. The hard work was just beginning. Building a city from scratch, especially one as ambitious as Tesla City, was no small task. Every day brought new challenges, from supply chain issues to technical hurdles to dealing with the politics surrounding such a massive project. But Musk was used to challenges, and he thrived on pressure. Tesla had already proved that it could revolutionize the automotive industry, but the creation of Tesla City was a chance to prove something even bigger. It was about changing the way people lived, worked, and interacted with the environment. It was a living, breathing example of what a sustainable, high-tech future could look like. As construction crews worked day and night to bring Tesla City to life, Musk's project attracted the attention of global players, some eager to help, others eager to challenge. Tech giants like Amazon, Google, and Apple were particularly interested in Tesla's vision for the future. They saw the potential for collaboration and were quick to offer their expertise in areas like artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and smart infrastructure. For instance, Amazon was interested in integrating its Alexa and Amazon Web Services into Tesla City, envisioning a world where residents could control everything from their homes to their cars with nothing more than their voice. Google, meanwhile, had a history of working with self-driving technologies, and they saw the potential to expand their role in Tesla City's autonomous transportation network. Despite these potentially lucrative partnerships, Musk remained cautious. He knew that any collaboration had to align with Tesla's core mission of sustainability and innovation. He also understood that working with other tech giants meant sharing control, something he was rarely willing to do. Tesla had always been about doing things differently, taking risks that others weren't willing to take. The city project, he knew, would have to reflect that ethos. However, not everyone was thrilled with Tesla's project. Some of the largest automotive companies in the world, Ford, General Motors, and Volkswagen, saw Tesla City as a direct threat to their dominance. If Musk succeeded in building the first fully autonomous, sustainable city, it would put traditional carmakers on the back foot. The world would no longer view cars as just vehicles, they would become part of a larger, smarter, and more integrated system. These companies began lobbying against Tesla City, questioning its feasibility and arguing that it would take away jobs and disrupt the traditional automotive market. They also raised concerns about Tesla's rapid rise and its unchecked dominance in electric vehicles and energy systems. Musk's response: "If you're not part of the future, you're part of the past." As the months passed, Tesla City began to take shape. The city's design was unlike anything the world had ever seen. Roads were equipped with smart sensors to monitor traffic, communicate with Tesla's autonomous vehicles, and optimize routes in real time. The city's buildings were designed with energy-efficient materials and were powered entirely by solar energy generated by Tesla's solar roofs and stored in massive Powerwall battery systems. Homes and businesses would be energy self-sufficient, connected to the grid in a way that allowed energy to be stored and distributed as needed. One of the most exciting aspects of Tesla City was the transportation system. The city would be fully integrated with autonomous vehicles that could be summoned at the touch of a button. The vehicles would communicate with each other to ensure the smoothest flow of traffic, reducing congestion and eliminating the need for parking spaces. This was truly a vision of the future, a world where cars were not just tools for getting from point A to point B, but interconnected, smart entities that were part of a larger system. As construction crews worked on the city's infrastructure, Tesla engineers worked on the vehicle fleet that would populate the streets of Tesla City. The cars, which would be powered by the same autonomous driving technology found in Tesla's existing vehicles, would be able to interact with the environment in ways that traditional cars never could. The AI systems that would drive Tesla City were arguably the most advanced in the world. Under Sophie Zhang's leadership, Tesla had developed a complex neural network that could control everything in the city, from the autonomous vehicles to the energy grid to the smart homes. The AI would learn and adapt based on user behavior, continuously improving the efficiency and sustainability of the entire city. Sophie knew that Tesla City would be more than just a demonstration of Tesla's capabilities, it would be a testing ground for AI systems that could one day be used in cities around the world. The city would act as a real-time lab, allowing Tesla to refine its technologies and push the boundaries of what AI could accomplish. The AI systems will make decisions based on real-time data from every aspect of the city, Sophie explained to Musk in one of their meetings. Traffic flow, energy usage, weather patterns, even human behavior. It will continuously evolve, learning to optimize every aspect of the city for maximum efficiency. Musk was fascinated by the potential. So, it's not just an AI that reacts, it learns, it anticipates. It becomes a part of the fabric of the city itself. Exactly, Sophie said, her eyes alight with excitement. This AI will make Tesla City not just a place to live, but an experience. It will make life easier, safer, and more sustainable for everyone who lives there. As Tesla City gained momentum, it started to have a ripple effect across industries. Traditional carmakers were forced to accelerate their own plans for electric vehicles and autonomous driving technology. Cities around the world began to take a closer look at the feasibility of implementing Tesla's model, exploring the possibility of transforming existing urban spaces into smart cities powered by renewable energy and advanced AI. Tesla's competitors were still skeptical, but the pressure was mounting. If Musk succeeded with Tesla City, it would prove that the future wasn't just electric, it was smart, interconnected, and sustainable. The world was rapidly changing, and no one could afford to sit back and wait. Musk's plan was now more than just a project, it was a movement. Tesla City wasn't just changing the way people lived, it was changing the way the world thought about the future. It became a symbol of hope, reminder that the future could be better, cleaner, smarter, and more sustainable. People began to rally around the idea. Environmentalists, tech enthusiasts, and ordinary citizens alike saw Tesla's vision for the future and realized that it was possible. A world where cities were powered by clean energy, where cars drove themselves, and where AI made life more efficient, was no longer just a dream, it was within reach. Tesla City was rapidly taking shape, but it wasn't just about building structures or developing new technologies, it was about testing the entire system. The first test run of the city was scheduled, and the entire world was watching. For Elon Musk and his team, this was the moment of truth. Tesla had talked about creating a smarter, more sustainable future for years, but now, they were going to prove it. The test run wasn't just about getting the vehicles to drive autonomously or making sure the energy grid worked. It was about seeing if all the systems could seamlessly interact and prove that Tesla's grand vision for the future was more than just an idea, it was reality. The test was designed to simulate a real-life scenario. Residents would move in for a week and live their lives as if they were actually in Tesla City. They would use the cars, rely on the energy systems, interact with the AI, and report back their experiences. This would be the proving ground for everything Tesla had been working on. It wasn't just a press event, it was a real trial, one that would either make or break Tesla's ambitious plans. The day before the test run, Elon Musk stood at the heart of the city, looking around. The solar panels on the roofs gleamed in the sunlight, and the streets were ready for the autonomous vehicles to take their first passengers. The city was designed to be a seamless blend of technology and sustainability, and everything had been carefully crafted to fit that vision. Tesla's cars would be the only vehicles on the roads, and the streets themselves were equipped with sensors that would communicate with the cars in real time to optimize traffic flow. Musk was nervous, but it was a quiet, confident kind of nervousness. He had always been a risk-taker, but this was different. Tesla City was the culmination of his life's work. It was about proving that the world could change, that humanity could rise above its current limitations. He walked through the streets of Tesla City, taking in the sight of everything they had built. It was a breathtaking moment, but he knew that tomorrow, everything would be put to the test. The first group of residents entered Tesla City early the next morning. They were a carefully selected group, engineers, tech experts, environmentalists, and volunteers who had signed up to be part of the historic experiment. Musk met with them briefly, explaining that they were about to embark on something that could change the world. "Welcome to the future," Musk said, his voice filled with excitement. "What you're about to experience here is a vision of how life could be. If we do this right, we're not just making a better city, we're making a better world." With that, the test run began. Residents were immediately introduced to Tesla's electric vehicles, each one equipped with the latest in autonomous driving technology. The cars were the key to the entire city's infrastructure. They would not only transport people but would communicate with the city's AI system to optimize routes, monitor traffic conditions, and ensure the most efficient energy use. The first few days were a mixture of excitement and adjustment. Residents were amazed at how intuitive the cars were. They could summon a vehicle with the tap of a button, and within moments, a sleek Tesla Model X or Cybertruck would pull up to take them wherever they wanted to go. The AI system in the cars wasn't just about driving, it was about understanding the needs of the driver, anticipating their destination, and adjusting routes in real time to avoid congestion and save energy. The city itself was equally impressive. Solar panels dotted the rooftops, collecting energy throughout the day to power homes and businesses. The Powerwall systems that Tesla had developed were integrated into every building, storing excess energy for use at night. And the AI-driven energy grid ensured that power was distributed efficiently and that residents could monitor their consumption in real time. One of the most striking features of Tesla City was how seamlessly the different systems worked together. The autonomous vehicles were perfectly in sync with the energy grid, and the city's AI was constantly adjusting to ensure the optimal balance of power usage and traffic flow. But as with any ambitious project, there were hiccups. The AI was learning, but it wasn't perfect. At one point during the test, a glitch caused several vehicles to stop in the middle of an intersection. It was a small issue, but it was enough to send a ripple of tension through the residents. Musk, who had been watching the event from a command center, immediately dispatched his engineering team to fix the problem. "We'll get it fixed," Musk reassured his team. "This is why we're doing this test, to work out the kinks before we open the city for real." The issue was resolved quickly, but it was a reminder that no project of this magnitude would be without its challenges. Another challenge came when the city's AI system attempted to manage the traffic flow during a particularly heavy rush hour. Despite its advanced design, the AI's decision-making was still evolving. During the test, there was a brief moment of confusion when several vehicles appeared to be on conflicting routes. It was a reminder that Tesla City was still in its developmental stages, and even the most sophisticated systems required time to refine. Elon Musk knew that these issues were not failures, but opportunities to improve. "We're building something that the world has never seen before," Musk said to his team. "We're going to make mistakes. We'll learn from them. And in the end, we'll get it right." And that's exactly what happened. Within hours, the glitches were addressed, and the AI began to function more smoothly. As the test run continued, residents grew increasingly comfortable with the system. They marveled at how quickly the cars adjusted to traffic conditions and how energy consumption was so efficiently managed. Meanwhile, the media buzzed with excitement over Tesla's bold experiment. News outlets across the world were reporting live from Tesla City, documenting every aspect of the test run. Some were skeptical, focusing on the glitches and the inevitable challenges of such an ambitious project. Others were fascinated, seeing Tesla City as a glimpse into the future. But what caught the attention of the world was the profound sense of hope that Tesla City represented. It wasn't just about electric cars or solar panels. It was about creating a city that was smarter, cleaner, and more sustainable, one that showed that it was possible to live in harmony with the environment while also embracing the future of technology. By the end of the test, the residents were overwhelmingly positive. There were some minor setbacks, but the overall experience was a resounding success. Tesla City wasn't just a showcase of technology, it was a proof of concept for what the future could look like. A future where sustainability, efficiency, and connectivity weren't just ideals but tangible realities. Musk watched the results of the test with pride, but he knew this was just the beginning. The world had seen a glimpse of the future, but there was still so much work to be done. Tesla City was a prototype, an experiment that could be scaled up and refined. The road ahead would be challenging, but Musk was confident that the journey was worth it. Tesla City was a symbol of what was possible when innovation and ambition came together to create something truly revolutionary. The success of Tesla City's first test run was a triumph, but as with any groundbreaking achievement, it also sparked intense opposition. The global stage was watching, and while many hailed Tesla's innovation as the future, others were not so quick to embrace it. Major corporations, governments, and even some residents began to voice concerns over the potential consequences of such a radical change. It wasn't just traditional car manufacturers anymore. Now, tech giants, politicians, and environmental groups were all watching closely, analyzing what Tesla City would mean for their interests. For some, it was a dream, a utopia of clean energy and automated living. But for others, it felt like a challenge to the status quo, an unsettling shift in the way the world had always worked. The first wave of opposition came from the traditional automotive giants. General Motors, Ford, and Toyota were quick to issue statements casting doubt on Tesla's ability to pull off such an ambitious vision. They argued that the idea of creating an entire city powered solely by electric cars, solar energy, and AI was unrealistic. Tesla's vision of a fully autonomous city is a fantasy, said a spokesperson for Ford. We don't believe that a model so reliant on a single technology can be sustainable for the long term. They weren't the only ones pushing back. ExxonMobil and other fossil fuel giants voiced concerns about how Tesla's energy grid, powered by solar energy and storage, would impact global energy markets. Fossil fuels, they argued, were still essential to powering economies around the world. Tesla's efforts to push for a future based on renewable energy threatened their long-established business models, and they weren't about to go down without a fight. Meanwhile, major tech companies like Apple and Microsoft were concerned about the potential dominance of Tesla's AI systems. Musk's ambition to create a city that was controlled by a single artificial intelligence raised fears that it would give Tesla an outsized amount of power over critical systems. Could a single company have the responsibility of managing not only transportation but energy, infrastructure, and even people's daily lives? Would this usher in a new era of corporate control over society? The backlash didn't stop with companies, it extended into politics as well. As the test run continued to capture global attention, politicians from across the world began to voice their concerns. Some were genuinely concerned about the feasibility of Tesla City and the potential risks of creating such a controlled, isolated environment. Others, however, saw it as a direct threat to their own political power and influence. In the United States, several high-profile politicians questioned whether Musk's plans for Tesla City could be considered a form of corporate overreach. Senator Sarah Peterson from Michigan, a longtime advocate for the traditional automotive industry, led the charge. Tesla is overstepping its boundaries, she said in a public statement. A city controlled by one corporation is not a democracy, it's a monopoly. We can't let one man dictate the future of our society. Internationally, governments around the world were equally wary. While many countries recognized the potential of Tesla's vision, others feared the concentration of power Musk would hold over such a vast project. Countries with large automotive and energy industries, such as Germany and Japan, were particularly vocal, warning that Tesla's rapid rise could destabilize their domestic markets and upend their economies. Even the environmental community was split on the project. While many environmentalists celebrated the promise of a carbon-neutral, solar-powered city, others had reservations. Some believed that building an entirely new city in an effort to showcase technological advancement was a wasteful use of resources. Instead of creating a new city from scratch, said Dr. Amanda Carson, an environmental activist and author of The Green Dilemma, Tesla should focus on retrofitting existing cities with sustainable solutions. Building an entire city for the sake of innovation is a luxury that the planet cannot afford. Though this group of critics was in the minority, they spoke passionately about the need for sustainability to be implemented globally, not just in isolated projects. Their concern was that Tesla City, as magnificent as it was, represented a privileged vision that ignored the existing urban issues facing much of the world's population. Their argument was simple: instead of focusing on futuristic developments, we should prioritize solutions for the millions of people still living in polluted, underdeveloped areas. The media's coverage of Tesla City was a mix of awe, skepticism, and fear. At first, many outlets were excited about the prospects of Tesla's grand vision. The idea of a fully sustainable, technologically advanced city was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. They painted a picture of a future where humanity could live in harmony with the planet and technology. But as the weeks went on, the narrative began to shift. The same media outlets that had previously praised Musk's ambitious goals began to ask tough questions. Some questioned the viability of Tesla's grand plans, particularly the scale of the AI systems and the level of control Musk would have over the city. Others expressed concerns over the ethical implications of living in a fully automated society. How much power should a single company have over individuals' lives? Was this the future we wanted, or was it a dystopian nightmare in the making? Elon Musk had always embraced media attention, but this time, the negative press stung. Critics began calling Tesla's project Elon Musk's playground, and warned that it was nothing more than an expensive, high-tech fantasy that would never truly take off. As the tide of criticism grew, Elon Musk knew he had to address the mounting backlash. He could feel the pressure mounting from all directions: corporations, governments, the media, and even some of his own supporters. But Musk, ever the defiant visionary, stood firm. He believed in Tesla City's potential to transform the world. He wasn't about to let naysayers slow him down. In a live-streamed press conference, Musk addressed his critics head-on. Some people like to dream small. They believe that the world should remain as it is, or that innovation should happen incrementally. But innovation doesn't work like that. Change comes when you dare to do the impossible. Tesla City is the future, and whether some people like it or not, it's happening. He continued, I've spent my life taking risks that others thought were crazy. But without risk, there's no progress. Tesla City represents progress. It represents a future where we don't have to choose between technology and sustainability. We can have both. And we will. Musk's response was bold, and it fired up his supporters. His fans rallied behind him, flooding social media with messages of support. But the critics remained relentless, and it was clear that the battle was far from over. Tesla City had already become more than just a city. It was now a symbol of something much larger, a fight for the future, a fight for control over what the world would look like in decades to come. The forces against Musk were formidable, but he had never been one to back down from a challenge. As the next phase of the project began, it was clear that this wasn't just a race to build a city, it was a race to reshape the future itself. Tesla City had become a global talking point, not just for its technological innovation but for its political and economic ramifications. As the test run was deemed a success, Tesla's bold vision for the future was thrust into the spotlight, and the implications for the world were becoming more apparent. Elon Musk had never been one to back down from controversy, but as the stakes grew, so did the scrutiny. Tesla City's potential to change the world, and the way people lived, was undeniable. The city was designed as a self-sustaining ecosystem, with everything from transportation to energy production carefully crafted to showcase what a sustainable future could look like. Yet, even as the city's success began to reverberate, it became clear that its creation was far from just a technological breakthrough. It was a political and economic experiment that could have lasting effects on global power dynamics. One of the most talked about features of Tesla City was its economy. Instead of relying on traditional industries, Tesla City's economy was based around clean energy, autonomous transportation, and artificial intelligence. The economic model was radically different from anything that had been seen before. There were no car dealerships, no gas stations, no construction firms building new infrastructure for the cars. Everything was streamlined and automated, efficiency was the name of the game. Tesla's energy solutions, solar panels, power walls, and an integrated AI energy grid, were the backbone of the economy. Residents didn't pay traditional utility bills. Instead, they used the solar energy that was collected throughout the day, and any excess power was stored in the power walls, which were connected to the city's grid. It was a radically different way of thinking about energy, but it worked. For the residents of Tesla City, it was a new paradigm. But this new economy was a double-edged sword. Many questioned whether such a model could work on a global scale. The transition to this kind of economy wasn't just about new technology, it would require a complete overhaul of industries that had been in place for decades. As Tesla began to gain more attention from world leaders, questions arose about the broader implications for economies that were built on oil, gas, and traditional energy sources. The response from world governments was mixed. Some saw the potential benefits of Tesla City in its energy-efficient, autonomous future. Canada, for example, immediately began exploring the possibility of implementing some of Tesla's energy systems in its major cities, hoping to reduce its reliance on fossil fuels. Germany, a country that had long been at the forefront of renewable energy development, also began discussing the potential of partnering with Tesla to integrate the city's technologies on a larger scale. But not everyone was excited. Countries with entrenched fossil fuel industries, like Russia, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela, began to see Tesla City as a direct challenge to their economic power. With the shift to renewable energy becoming a very real possibility, oil-exporting countries began to worry about the long-term effects on their economies. They knew that the transition to a green economy would leave them behind, and they weren't prepared to give up their global dominance just yet. Russia's president was among the first to openly criticize Tesla City. Musk's dream of an AI-run, renewable energy-powered city is not the future, he stated. It's a threat to our economy and a direct challenge to the balance of power in the world. The West cannot impose this kind of system on us. Tesla's rise had triggered a wave of geopolitical tension, as nations scrambled to prepare for a world where clean energy, automation, and artificial intelligence could reshape the global order. As the world began to turn its eyes on Tesla City, Elon Musk's leadership was tested in ways he had never experienced before. He had always prided himself on being a disruptor, but now, as Tesla City's influence grew, Musk found himself at the center of an international debate about corporate power, technological dominance, and the future of society. Musk was no stranger to controversy, but this was different. He was no longer just the CEO of a car company, he had become the face of a new movement, one that could change the course of history. Tesla City wasn't just a symbol of technological advancement, it was a beacon of a potential new world order, one where private companies could have more control over cities and economies than governments. The implications were enormous. If Tesla succeeded in expanding its model, it could change the relationship between citizens and governments. Could cities like Tesla City replace traditional governments? Could private corporations, like Tesla, reshape the way the world functioned? These questions hung heavily on Musk's mind. He knew that the success of Tesla City meant more than just proving the technology worked. It would shape the future of power and control on a global scale. Despite the increasing pressure from critics, Musk was resolute. He believed that Tesla City was not just a model for a sustainable future, it was a vision for the world. A world where cities were powered by clean energy, transportation was autonomous and efficient, and artificial intelligence worked to make life easier for everyone. He knew that such a future would require bold leadership and the courage to push through the inevitable pushback. "We're on the brink of something transformative," Musk said in a public statement. "What we're doing here in Tesla City is just the beginning. We're not just changing the way we think about cities. We're changing the way we think about the world." Musk's words echoed across the globe. For his supporters, Tesla City was a shining example of what could be achieved when humanity embraced innovation. For his detractors, it was a terrifying glimpse into a future where one company could hold the keys to society itself. As Tesla City's success continued to unfold, the ripple effect began to spread far and wide. Cities around the world began to take notice. Los Angeles, London, Tokyo, and Paris all began to explore how they could incorporate some of Tesla's technologies into their urban planning. Governments, especially in major cities, were faced with the reality that the world was changing, and they had to adapt. If they didn't, they risked being left behind. Tesla's autonomous vehicles, already being tested in major cities around the world, were a focal point of interest. Countries and companies began to debate how they could implement similar systems in their own urban environments. The implications for transportation, infrastructure, and the environment were enormous. Could the world handle such a radical shift in how we live and move around? But as Tesla's influence spread, so did the fear of what could go wrong. Some experts warned that Tesla's vision, while idealistic, could be dangerous if not managed correctly. What if the AI systems went awry? What if the city's model led to job loss or societal inequality? What would happen if Tesla's power became too centralized, too controlled? Tesla City was no longer just a city, it was the battleground for the future. The world had reached a dangerous crossroads, where technological innovation was pushing boundaries, but questions of power, control, and governance hung in the balance. Elon Musk had always been a man of big ideas, but now, his vision was facing its greatest test. Could Tesla City truly reshape the world? Or would the forces of opposition prove too strong to overcome? As the days turned into weeks, the global response to Tesla City became increasingly polarized. People were talking about it in every corner of the world, whether in the boardrooms of corporate giants or the living rooms of everyday citizens. Musk's grand experiment was no longer just a futuristic dream, it had become a pressing reality, and for better or worse, its effects were being felt everywhere. For Elon Musk, this growing influence was both exhilarating and terrifying. The test run of Tesla City had gone smoothly, and the promise of a cleaner, more efficient way of living was appealing to many. But now, the project was at a tipping point. The technological advancements Tesla had made in energy, AI, and autonomous transportation had opened the door to a new world. But with that, the scrutiny had escalated. Musk's next moves would determine whether Tesla City was the dawn of a new age or a fleeting fantasy doomed to collapse under its own weight. Within Tesla, the pressure was mounting. Engineers, developers, and designers were working around the clock to ensure the city's systems were as efficient and foolproof as possible. But as Tesla City grew in prominence, so did the expectations. Musk was known for pushing the boundaries of innovation, but now he was facing an entirely different kind of challenge, keeping the wheels turning smoothly while also defending against the growing resistance. Internally, there was division among the ranks. While many employees believed in Tesla's mission, some began to feel the strain of the project's scale. The risks were higher, the stakes were larger, and Musk's leadership, while visionary, was increasingly becoming a source of tension. In a tense boardroom meeting, J.B. Straubel, Tesla's co-founder and chief technical officer, raised a concern that had been on his mind for some time. Elon, we're pushing the envelope with Tesla City, but we have to ask ourselves, are we moving too fast? We need to consider the long-term implications, not just the tech, but the social and economic changes we're triggering. Musk, who had never been one to shy away from criticism, met Straubel's gaze. I've considered it, Musk replied. But we can't afford to stop now. The world needs this, and we're not going to let fear hold us back. We're pioneers, JB, pioneers don't play it safe. Straubel, though supportive of Tesla's overall mission, wasn't so sure that Musk was seeing the bigger picture. The pressure from governments, corporate giants, and even his own team was building, and the public's fascination with the project was beginning to feel more like a ticking time bomb than a beacon of hope. The critics who had voiced their concerns from the beginning were now gaining more ground. The idea that a single company could control everything, energy, infrastructure, even transportation, began to take root as a very real threat. Global regulators started to take notice. What had begun as a fringe argument among Musk's detractors was now becoming a serious legal challenge. The European Union's antitrust commissioner, Charlotte Dupont, was one of the most vocal critics. Tesla City is not just an urban development, she said in a public address. It is a fundamental reordering of society. A city controlled by one private entity undermines the very principles of free market competition that we stand for. DuPont wasn't alone. In the United States, political figures from both parties were beginning to voice concerns over Tesla's growing influence. Senator Peterson from Michigan, a longtime critic of Musk's plans, led the charge in calling for an investigation into the potential monopolistic practices of Tesla. This is about power. It's about control. Tesla is not just building a city, it's building an empire, and it's time someone stopped them. Musk was no stranger to controversy, but this was different. The narrative had shifted from one of excitement and hope to one of concern and fear. Could Tesla City be the utopia it was promised to be? Or was it just the beginning of a dystopian nightmare? On the international stage, tensions between countries were starting to rise. Nations that had once considered Tesla a model of innovation were now questioning whether it was in their best interest to support Musk's grand experiment. China, a nation that had been at the forefront of adopting electric vehicles, began to express doubts. Though they were still invested in Tesla's technology, they worried about the long-term implications of a single company dominating the global energy and transportation markets. Would Musk's vision limit China's influence in the future? The Chinese government issued statements signaling their concerns over Tesla's potential to dominate and limit competition in the automotive sector. Meanwhile, India, with its massive and rapidly growing population, also voiced its doubts. Tesla had made inroads into India with its electric vehicle models, but the nation's leaders began to question whether such a centralized, technology-driven society was the right fit for the country's diverse, largely rural population. For India, the vision of a completely automated city was an uncomfortable thought, one that seemed too detached from the country's traditions and realities. The world was divided, and the deeper Tesla City took root, the more these tensions would grow. The world was watching, and public opinion had never been more crucial. Though many people embraced the vision of a sustainable, tech-driven society, there were also those who feared it. As Tesla City grew, so did the protests. In major cities like New York, Berlin, and Tokyo, crowds of people gathered outside Tesla offices and government buildings, holding signs that read, "No one should control our future," and "Down with Tesla's monopoly." The protests weren't just about the technological implications, they were about the future of humanity itself. People feared what it meant for society if a single company held the reins to so many aspects of their lives. The debate wasn't about the future of energy or electric cars, it was about who would control that future. Elon Musk knew that he was now facing something far beyond what he had anticipated. His drive to change the world had brought him to a precipice, and the weight of what was at stake was finally sinking in. He had always believed that humanity's future was inextricably tied to technology, and he had pushed Tesla City forward with that vision. But now, as protests intensified and governments considered legal action, Musk had to confront a brutal reality: the world wasn't ready to accept a future where a single company had so much power. He sat in his office, staring at the plans for the next phase of Tesla City. The weight of his decisions pressed on him. Was he truly creating a new world? Or was he opening the door to something darker, something he couldn't control? As the world held its breath, Elon Musk made a decision that would change the course of Tesla City's future. He called a meeting with his top advisors and board members. "We have to adapt," he said with a sense of finality. "We can't just push forward without considering the broader consequences." Tesla City was always about building a new future, but that future has to be inclusive. It has to involve the world, not just Musk. The decision wasn't easy, but Musk knew it was the right one. He needed to pivot, to find a way to ease the fears of the public and reassure the governments and corporations that Tesla wasn't out to dominate the world, it was here to help build it. Elon Musk's decision to pivot and take a more collaborative approach with world governments and corporations marked the beginning of a new chapter for Tesla City. But, as with every shift, it was easier said than done. The backlash against the city's rapidly growing influence was relentless, and the political and economic forces at play were now more entrenched than ever. To navigate the storm ahead, Musk knew that he couldn't do it alone. He needed an alliance, one that could help him steer Tesla City away from the precipice and toward a more sustainable future for all. The morning after Musk made his public announcement about his new direction, he found himself in a whirlwind of phone calls and urgent meetings. The backlash had not subsided, but now there was a glimmer of hope. World leaders and corporate giants, who had once viewed Tesla City with skepticism, were beginning to open their doors for dialogue. Musk's first move was a carefully planned meeting with Charlotte DuPont, the European Union's antitrust commissioner. DuPont, who had been one of Tesla's fiercest critics, had made her concerns about the potential monopolistic power of Tesla City known. Musk's team had been in contact with her office for days, working to secure a face-to-face meeting. It was time for him to offer her a seat at the table, literally and figuratively. "I'm glad we could meet in person, Commissioner," Musk said as they sat down at a large conference table. "I know you've had your concerns about Tesla City, but I'm hoping we can work together to build something that works for everyone." DuPont studied him for a moment, clearly still cautious but willing to listen. "Your city is a fascinating concept, Musk. But it's also potentially dangerous. One company shouldn't control so much of society. The future you're proposing, no matter how green or efficient, could result in a loss of control. How can you guarantee that Tesla won't monopolize the very future it claims to build?" Musk leaned forward. "I understand your concerns. But I'm not interested in creating an empire, I'm interested in creating a future where humanity thrives. That's why we need to open up the technology, collaborate with governments, and allow competition to flourish. Tesla City is just one model, but it doesn't need to be the only one." DuPont, though skeptical, could see that Musk was serious. She wasn't sure whether he could pull it off, but she knew that the conversation needed to continue. "I'm willing to consider your proposal, Musk. But you need to prove that Tesla is not aiming to corner the market in every sector you enter. You need transparency, and you need collaboration." Musk nodded. "That's exactly what I'm proposing. It's time we opened up the system and let others in." Musk didn't stop at DuPont. He knew that to make real change, he needed more than just the European Union's approval, he needed global support. He reached out to President Carlos Gutierrez of Mexico and Prime Minister Sato of Japan, both of whom had expressed interest in Tesla's technology in the past. However, they were now more cautious, unsure about the broader implications of Tesla City's model. The meetings were tense but productive. Musk explained that he was willing to share Tesla's energy systems, autonomous vehicle technology, and AI infrastructure with countries willing to collaborate on a global scale. He proposed a new initiative, the Global Energy and Transportation Consortium, GETC, an international coalition to help cities adopt sustainable, technology-driven solutions while maintaining local sovereignty and competitiveness. The idea behind the GETC was simple: Tesla would provide its cutting-edge technologies, but only as part of a collaborative effort with multiple stakeholders. This was not just about Tesla controlling the future, it was about empowering countries to shape their own destinies with Tesla's technology as a tool, not as a monopoly. "We can't do this alone," Musk told the assembled leaders. "We're all in this together. And the more we work together, the better the world will be." The global community, while still wary, began to warm to Musk's new approach. It wasn't without its challenges, of course. Countries like Russia and Saudi Arabia continued to express reservations, still concerned about losing their grip on the energy markets. But for the most part, there was a growing recognition that collaboration, rather than isolation, was the way forward. The first real success came when Germany and Canada signed on to be founding members of the GETC. These two countries, known for their commitment to renewable energy, saw the potential in Musk's vision. Chancellor Annelies Schmidt of Germany was particularly vocal about the need for such a partnership, stating, "The future isn't about the dominance of one country or one company. It's about the collective effort to protect our planet and its people." Tesla's commitment to sharing technology and working with international governments opened doors. And as the coalition grew, the momentum behind Tesla City shifted. Now, the city was not just an isolated experiment, it was part of a broader, global movement toward a more sustainable and interconnected world. As Tesla's plans gained traction, it wasn't just governments that were watching, it was the financial world. Musk's willingness to open up Tesla City to collaboration and partnership had caught the attention of some of the world's largest financial institutions. Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, and BlackRock were among the first to express interest in investing in the GETC initiative. The consortium wasn't just about building sustainable cities, it was about creating a new, tech-driven global economy. These financial giants recognized the opportunity to help fund the global transition to a cleaner, more efficient future. They saw the writing on the wall: clean energy and autonomous transportation were not just fads, they were the future. In a pivotal meeting with David Solomon, CEO of Goldman Sachs, Musk outlined his vision for the GETC. "This is the next great economic revolution," Musk said. "This isn't just about Tesla. It's about creating an ecosystem that allows businesses, governments, and individuals to thrive in a more sustainable and efficient way." Solomon, impressed with Musk's resolve, replied, "You're not just talking about business, Musk. You're talking about reshaping the global economy. We're in." With the backing of both global leaders and financial giants, Tesla City began to take on a new role on the world stage. It was no longer just an isolated city, it had become a focal point for a global transformation, driven by collaboration rather than domination. But even as the tides shifted in Tesla's favor, challenges still remained. The alliance with world leaders and corporations was a step in the right direction, but there were many more obstacles ahead. The global community was far from unified, and the forces against Tesla's model still held power. There were also questions about whether Musk could maintain his focus and leadership as the world continued to shift around him. The road ahead was unclear, but one thing was certain: Tesla City had become more than just a city. It had become the symbol of a new era, one where collaboration, innovation, and shared responsibility could change the course of history. Despite the growing global support for Tesla City, not everyone was on board with Elon Musk's vision. As Tesla's technological advancements and the GETC initiative continued to gain momentum, the shadows of resistance began to take shape in more unexpected corners of the world. While governments, corporations, and financial institutions were starting to see the potential benefits of Musk's vision, certain factions within society saw the expansion of Tesla's influence as an existential threat. Some of the fiercest critics of Tesla City were not from the usual political or corporate elites, but from grassroots movements and activist groups that had long been wary of unchecked technological progress. These groups, led by individuals who saw Musk as the embodiment of a corporate overlord, were now organizing and intensifying their protests. One of the most vocal figures in this movement was Dr. Ingrid Valdez, a prominent professor of ethics in technology at Stanford University. Valdez had been a supporter of renewable energy for most of her life, but when it came to Tesla City, she had serious concerns about the broader implications of a company wielding such immense power. "The world doesn't need a singular vision of the future, especially one that's driven by a single corporation," Valdez said in a widely circulated speech. "What happens when one company controls everything, our energy, our transportation, even our homes? This is the beginning of a techno-dystopia. If we're not careful, we will lose the very essence of democracy." Her words resonated with a growing base of critics who argued that while Tesla's innovations were admirable, they were too risky. The centralization of power, they warned, could pave the way for greater surveillance, social stratification, and loss of individual freedoms. This narrative was further amplified by underground media outlets, which painted Tesla City as the beginning of a larger, ominous trend: corporate giants taking control of entire cities and, eventually, entire nations. As the protests gained traction, something more sinister began to unfold. Behind the scenes, a secretive group of tech billionaires and political elites, who had long been wary of Musk's growing influence, began to form alliances of their own. They recognized the threat that Tesla's vision posed to their own power and wealth. At the heart of this resistance was Catherine Morrow, a former tech executive who had once worked closely with Musk during Tesla's early days. Morrow had been instrumental in shaping Tesla's early strategy, but over the years, she had grown disillusioned with Musk's approach. "I helped build this company," Morrow said to an inner circle of like-minded individuals. "But I can't stand by and watch as one man reshapes the entire global order. We need to stop him, before it's too late." Morrow's organization, dubbed the Syndicate, had deep ties to the world's largest corporations, intelligence agencies, and financial institutions. They operated in the shadows, quietly influencing public opinion and policy through a network of media outlets, lobbyists, and even high-level government officials. Their goal was simple: to slow down or completely derail Tesla's growth, especially its plans to build out Tesla City. The syndicate knew that if they could create enough doubt and chaos around Tesla's project, they might just be able to stop Musk before he could change the course of history. Back in Tesla City, the ripple effects of the growing resistance were beginning to be felt. Although Musk had been focused on forging partnerships and collaborations, the internal pressure within his company was mounting. His leadership was now under scrutiny from both within and outside the organization. A group of Tesla executives, led by Gwynne Shotwell, Tesla's president and COO, called an emergency meeting with Musk. The meeting was urgent, and the mood was tense. Shotwell had been one of Musk's most trusted allies, but even she was beginning to question the path forward. "Elon, we're facing an unprecedented challenge," Shotwell said, her voice laced with concern. "The public's perception is beginning to shift. The protests are escalating, the media is scrutinizing every decision we make, and the syndicate is pulling strings in ways we can't predict. We need to be more transparent, more careful, about how we proceed." Musk, always quick to push boundaries, took a deep breath. "I get it. But we can't let fear dictate our actions. If we stop now, we'll never achieve the vision we've set out for the world. We need to double down on our commitment to collaboration and transparency. The only way through this is by staying true to our mission." Shotwell, though sympathetic to Musk's ideals, knew that this was a critical juncture. "I'm not saying we should back down, but we need to be strategic. The world is watching. If we want to succeed, we need to address the criticisms head-on and find ways to win back the public trust." Musk's mind raced. The stakes had never been higher. He had to figure out how to turn the tide in Tesla's favor, or risk losing everything they had worked for. Amid the growing chaos, Musk received an unexpected call from Charlotte DuPont, the EU's antitrust commissioner. While he had initially reached out to her to discuss collaborative efforts, the conversation had taken a different turn. "I know things are getting difficult for you, Elon," DuPont said, her voice calm but firm. "But I believe we're at a crossroads. If Tesla is truly committed to a new world order, one based on collaboration and shared responsibility, we need to see more concrete steps. I'm willing to help, but I need you to act fast. The forces working against you are formidable." Musk, ever the optimist, saw this as a sign of hope. "What do you suggest?" "I believe we need to take the fight to the syndicate," DuPont replied, her tone now more urgent. "You've been playing defense, but it's time to go on the offensive. The syndicate is hiding in the shadows, but we have the power to expose them." DuPont's suggestion was bold, but it made sense. If Tesla could shed light on the secretive networks working against them, they might be able to rally public support and shift the narrative in their favor. With DuPont's support, Musk knew that he had an important ally in the battle ahead. But the road to exposing the syndicate would not be easy. Tesla was already under a microscope, and the media would undoubtedly seize on any hint of scandal. Yet, Musk was determined. He had always been driven by the belief that technology should serve humanity, not control it. The next few weeks would be pivotal. Tesla City's future depended on the success of Musk's strategy to confront the resistance, both from within and outside the company. The world was waiting, and as tensions reached a boiling point, Musk had no choice but to face the shadows head-on. The quiet tension in the air was palpable as Musk and his team prepared to unveil their plan. The resistance was growing stronger by the day, and the forces behind the syndicate seemed to be tightening their grip on global affairs. Musk knew that if Tesla City was to survive and thrive, they would need to act decisively and expose the shadowy network working against them. It wasn't just about defending Tesla City anymore, it was about revealing the truth, no matter the cost. The first step in Musk's strategy was to begin collecting evidence. Using his connections within Tesla and the backing of key allies like Charlotte DuPont, he began to gather intelligence on the syndicate's operations. Their influence in media, government, and large corporations ran deep, but their public face was hidden behind layers of secrecy. The goal was to unveil the truth to the world, to show that the opposition was not motivated by altruism or concern for democracy, but by a desire to preserve their own power. Musk needed to expose them, to force them out of the shadows. It was a high-stakes gamble, and if they failed, it could backfire spectacularly. Musk had always been someone who relished a challenge, but this was different. He wasn't just fighting for Tesla's future, he was fighting for a new kind of world. He had always believed that technology could improve lives, not control them. But the people who opposed him believed just the opposite. "We need to go on the offensive," Musk told his trusted advisor, Linda Yates, Tesla's chief strategy officer. "We've got to get the public behind us, show them the truth, and expose the syndicate for what they are." Yates nodded. She had known Musk for years, and she understood the gravity of the situation. "But we have to be careful, Elon. The syndicate's reach is vast, and we can't afford to make any mistakes. If we go too hard, we could alienate the very people we need to support us." Musk's eyes hardened. "We don't have the luxury of playing it safe. People need to see what's happening in the dark corners of power. We need to make them see the truth." The key to their plan was a massive data leak, an expose that would reveal the syndicate's hidden operations and their influence over various global affairs. Using an encrypted network, Tesla's cybersecurity team worked tirelessly to gather and compile the evidence. The leak included everything: internal communications between syndicate members, details of their involvement in key political decisions, and even evidence of their attempts to sabotage Tesla City's growth. The information, once made public, would change everything. Musk knew that the stakes were enormous. If the leak was traced back to Tesla, the backlash could be catastrophic. But he also knew that if they didn't act, the resistance would suffocate the city before it had a chance to reach its full potential. After weeks of planning, the time had come. Tesla's team worked with DuPont's office to ensure that the leak would be released to the public through multiple trusted channels, including investigative journalists and independent media organizations. This would be a coordinated strike, an announcement that would make it clear to the world who was truly pulling the strings. "We have one shot at this," Musk said during a final meeting with his leadership team. "Once the information is out, there's no going back. We're opening a door that can't be closed." The day the leak hit the news was a turning point. At first, it was just a trickle, a few stories on independent news sites, an initial report that gained little traction. But as the details emerged, the story began to snowball. Soon, it was everywhere. The headline in the New York Times read, "The Syndicate Unmasked: How a Shadowy Network of Tech Billionaires and Political Elites Has Been Secretly Sabotaging Global Progress." The report detailed how the syndicate had secretly funded media campaigns, influenced elections, and even coordinated efforts to stifle sustainable energy projects like Tesla City. It painted a vivid picture of a powerful, invisible hand controlling much of the world's economic and political systems, all in the name of maintaining the status quo. Musk and his team watched in real time as the world reacted. The story spread like wildfire. Social media was flooded with hashtags like #ExposeTheSyndicate and #TeslaTruth. For many, it was a revelation, an awakening to the hidden forces shaping their world. Musk's decision to expose the syndicate had been bold, and it was paying off. The media, once skeptical of Tesla, now began to shift their tone. The narrative was no longer just about Tesla's growth, it was about transparency, accountability, and fighting back against the hidden forces that sought to control the future. But with the exposure came consequences. The syndicate's influence was not something that could be easily dismantled, and they didn't go quietly. The day after the leak, a coordinated campaign to discredit Musk and Tesla began. Articles questioning Musk's motives, his business practices, and even his personal life flooded the press. The media, once enamored with Musk's vision, now turned on him. The Wall Street Journal published a scathing editorial, "Elon Musk, the man who would be king." The piece painted Musk as a megalomaniac, someone whose ego had led him to overreach and expose the world to his dangerous ideas. Even some of Tesla's most vocal supporters began to question whether the company had gone too far. Was Tesla City truly a utopia, or was it a dystopian nightmare in the making? The backlash was intense, and Musk felt the pressure building. The fight had only just begun. As the controversy continued to grow, Musk knew that the only way to regain control of the narrative was to engage with the public directly. He began a series of live-streamed town halls, where he answered questions from journalists, critics, and ordinary people alike. The first of these town halls was tense. The questions came fast and hard, and Musk's responses were often met with skepticism. But he didn't back down. He spoke passionately about Tesla City's potential to revolutionize the world, about the need for transparency, and about his vision for a future where technology served humanity, not the other way around. "I know this isn't easy," Musk said in one of his town halls. "But we're at a crossroads. We can continue down the path we've been on, where a small group of elites control everything, or we can build something better. Something that's for everyone. That's what Tesla City is all about." But as he spoke, he couldn't help but wonder, would the truth be enough to overcome the shadows that sought to destroy him? The exposure of the syndicate had opened a new chapter in the battle for Tesla City. The world had seen the truth, but it wasn't clear whether the world was ready to embrace it. Musk had made his move, but now he had to deal with the fallout. The syndicate would not give up without a fight, and neither would those who opposed Tesla's vision. Musk knew that the coming months would be critical. This wasn't just a fight for Tesla, it was a fight for the future of the world. And as the flames of controversy began to rise, Musk stood firm, knowing that this was the moment that would define everything. The fallout from the exposure of the syndicate's activities had already begun to reshape the political and economic landscape. The media was ablaze with the revelations, but what followed was a battle far more complicated than anyone had anticipated. The syndicate's response to the leak was swift and ruthless. Musk had prepared for opposition, but even he hadn't predicted how quickly the narrative would shift once the full force of the syndicate's power was brought to bear. The backlash against Tesla was unprecedented, as coordinated attacks on Musk's credibility and Tesla's technology escalated. The syndicate, made up of some of the world's wealthiest and most influential figures, wasn't going to let a little exposure derail their plans. They launched a counteroffensive with military precision, pulling in their vast resources to discredit Musk and his vision of Tesla City. A smear campaign began in earnest. Major newspapers, once neutral or sympathetic to Tesla's cause, now published articles questioning the validity of the leaked information, and the integrity of Musk himself. Within hours, stories questioning Musk's personal life, business dealings, and even his mental stability began to surface. The Washington Post ran a headline, "Is Elon Musk's ambition driving him mad?" The article, written by a journalist with ties to the syndicate, portrayed Musk as a man who had lost touch with reality, consumed by his ego and desire for power. In the midst of these attacks, a hack targeted Tesla's internal data, leaking several sensitive documents that painted a picture of an overzealous CEO pushing his company to the brink of collapse. The timing was impeccable. The data leak further fueled the narrative that Musk had been reckless and unprepared, risking the livelihoods of Tesla's employees and the lives of those who would one day inhabit Tesla City. The firestorm of negative press was overwhelming. Musk's own social media accounts were flooded with negative comments, many from former fans and investors. Some called for his resignation. Others demanded that Tesla be dismantled for its involvement in the controversy. The political world wasn't immune to the conflict either. Countries began to reevaluate their support for Tesla's global projects. European Union leaders held emergency summits to discuss their involvement with Tesla's initiatives, wary of being entangled in a scandal of this magnitude. Several nations that had previously been keen to welcome Tesla City with open arms now took a more cautious approach. Some governments, particularly those who had been wary of Musk's centralized vision, saw the situation as an opportunity to weaken his influence. They began tightening regulations around Tesla's technology, introducing roadblocks to the progress Musk had worked so hard to achieve. However, amidst all the negative press, there were signs of hope. Public support for Musk and Tesla wasn't entirely gone. In fact, in some regions, particularly in areas where Tesla's renewable energy solutions had already made a tangible impact, the backlash against Musk was less severe. Many people saw the syndicate's attacks as a calculated attempt to undermine progress and maintain the old power structures. Facing a rising tide of opposition, Musk took a bold step. He made a live address to the world, streamed across social media platforms and major news outlets. It was his chance to speak directly to the public and rally support. The atmosphere in the room was intense as Musk stood before the cameras. Behind him was a simple backdrop, a representation of the Tesla city skyline, the symbol of his vision for the future. "Good evening," Musk began, his voice steady but determined. "What you've seen in the media over the past few weeks is not the full story. In fact, it's far from it." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in before continuing. "The truth is, Tesla City is not just about technology. It's about a new way of thinking. A new way of living. And yes, there are powerful people who don't want that to happen. People who are threatened by the idea of a future where technology works for humanity, not the other way around." Musk's words carried weight. He spoke directly to the heart of the people, appealing to their sense of justice and their desire for progress. Do we want a future where the few control everything, or do we want a future where everyone has the opportunity to thrive? I believe in the latter. I believe that together, we can create a better world, a world powered by clean energy, sustainable living, and freedom. The speech had an immediate impact. #IStandWithMusk began trending worldwide, with supporters flooding social media with messages of hope and solidarity. Musk's passionate words resonated with people who were tired of the status quo and wanted a change. Musk's speech reignited a spark of hope among Tesla's supporters. While the attacks from the syndicate continued to pour in, there was a noticeable shift in the public discourse. More and more people were questioning the motives behind the smear campaigns and the global resistance to Tesla's plans. In the days that followed, there were signs that the syndicate's control was starting to slip. A few key whistleblowers came forward, revealing even more details about the syndicate's operations. It turned out that some of the major media outlets had been complicit in pushing the anti-Tesla narrative, while high-ranking government officials had accepted bribes to sway public opinion. As these new revelations came to light, public support for Musk surged once again. The more the world saw the true nature of the resistance, the more they rallied behind the idea of a brighter, more sustainable future. Just when it seemed like Musk might have turned the corner, the situation became even more complicated. A last-minute ally came to his aid in the form of David Cheng, a former member of the syndicate who had become disillusioned with the organization's methods. Cheng, a brilliant strategist, had worked for years as a consultant for several of the syndicate's major corporate interests. But after witnessing the lengths to which the syndicate was willing to go to protect their power, he decided to leave and expose the group from within. "I've seen enough," Cheng said in a televised interview. "The world deserves to know the truth about the people pulling the strings. I'm ready to help Musk take them down." Cheng's insider knowledge was invaluable, and Musk quickly formed an alliance with him. The two of them began coordinating efforts to expose the syndicate's deepest secrets, with Cheng providing critical information about the group's activities. Musk knew that the final battle for Tesla City's future was still ahead. The syndicate wasn't going to back down, and the world's eyes were still fixed on him. But for the first time in weeks, he felt a sense of optimism. The forces of change were beginning to gather. The truth was on his side, and he had a plan to take the fight to the heart of the syndicate's power. It was clear that the tipping point had arrived. The battle was no longer just about Tesla, it was about the future of humanity itself. The stage was set for the culmination of everything Elon Musk had worked for. The battles, the betrayals, the revelations, it had all led up to this moment. Tesla City's future, his legacy, and the future of the world were at stake. The syndicate was reeling, but they were not yet defeated. And as Musk prepared for the final confrontation, he understood that the world would never be the same. The days following Chang's alliance with Musk had been a whirlwind of strategic planning and tactical moves. Armed with insider information and unwavering determination, Musk's team was prepared to strike the final blow against the syndicate's hold on the world. But the syndicate wasn't just going to fold under pressure. They had powerful resources at their disposal, government influence, corporate power, and, most dangerously, a network of operatives who would stop at nothing to protect their interests. The final showdown would take place not in a boardroom or a press conference, but in the heart of a clandestine meeting, deep in the shadows of global power. Tesla's next move would need to be decisive, or everything could come crumbling down. The plan was simple, yet brilliant: expose the syndicate's hidden assets and corporate ties in one fell swoop. Musk and Chang had spent weeks gathering damning evidence, financial records, off-the-record conversations, and the ultimate trump card, a list of high-level politicians who had been paid off in exchange for pushing anti-Tesla legislation. With this data, Musk could sever the syndicate's last threads of influence, rendering them powerless in one single move. The key moment would be the global summit that had been scheduled for the following week. The world's most influential political leaders, tech moguls, and business leaders would gather in New York City, supposedly to discuss the future of sustainable energy. But Musk had a different idea for the summit. This wouldn't just be a talk about the future, it would be the moment he would lay bare the syndicate's corruption for the entire world to see. "We do it now," Musk told Chang, as the final preparations were made. "There's no time to waste. The world is watching, and we've got one shot at this." Chang nodded in agreement. "The data is ready. We leak it all during the summit. Every document, every phone call, every piece of evidence. It's time for the world to know the truth." The day of the summit arrived, and the tension in the air was almost palpable. The world's media was in attendance, broadcasting the event live across every continent. There were speeches about energy innovation, political cooperation, and the future of climate change, but beneath the surface, the real agenda was unfolding. Musk stood at the back of the room, his hands clasped behind his back. He had always been a master of keeping his cool, but even he could feel the gravity of what was about to happen. The heads of government and top corporate executives made their speeches, but all the while, Musk could feel the storm brewing. The syndicate was entrenched in the room, some in plain sight, others hidden behind layers of security. They were waiting for their chance to strike back. But Musk had anticipated this. As the speeches began to wrap up, and the press started to shift focus, he stepped to the stage. Musk's voice was calm as he addressed the room. "Thank you all for your participation today. But before we go any further, I think it's time the world knew the truth." With a flick of his wrist, Musk activated a massive screen behind him. On it, the world saw the first batch of documents, bank transfers, covert deals, and memos between syndicate leaders and corrupt politicians. The names of world leaders who had been bribed to sabotage Tesla City's growth appeared in bold letters. The room was frozen. The media gasped. People shifted uncomfortably in their seats, as the magnitude of the revelation sunk in. Musk continued, his voice unwavering. "For years, these people have been pulling the strings behind the scenes. They've been trying to stop us, trying to stop Tesla and any progress that threatens their control. But today, we expose them. We expose their greed, their manipulation, and their betrayal of the public trust. As the documents poured onto the screen, the faces in the room shifted from disbelief to shock. Musk had done it. He had taken down the syndicate's carefully constructed empire, and the world was now witness to it. But the syndicate wasn't going to give up so easily. Within moments, the leaders of the syndicate in the room sprang into action. One of them, Alexander Grant, a powerful billionaire with ties to several governments, stood up from his seat. "You think the world will believe this, Musk?" he sneered. "You've made a grave mistake." The tension in the room spiked as Grant's security detail moved toward Musk, their hands hovering over their weapons. The syndicate wasn't going to let Musk take them down without a fight. But before any action could be taken, Cheng stepped forward. His voice was calm but firm. "This isn't just about documents. It's about a movement. The people know the truth now. The momentum is with us." He was right. The room erupted into chaos, as journalists scrambled to capture every moment. The syndicate leaders tried to maintain control, but the damage was done. The public was already reacting. The truth had gone viral. Social media was ablaze with hashtags like #SyndicateExposed and #TeslaTruth. Around the world, protests erupted in major cities. People rallied behind Musk, demanding that the syndicate be held accountable. For the first time in history, a coordinated global movement was forming, not around one man, but around the very idea of transparency, justice, and progress. The syndicate's grip on the media began to loosen. Governments that had been paid off to oppose Musk now faced intense public pressure to investigate the corrupt leaders in their ranks. Musk stood on the stage, watching the reactions unfold. He had known that this moment would change everything, but he couldn't help but feel a sense of awe at what had been unleashed. As the summit wound down, Musk addressed the world one last time. "This is just the beginning. Tesla City isn't just a dream, it's a movement. A movement for a new way of living. A movement that's bigger than any one person. Together, we will build a future where technology serves humanity, not the other way around." The world had heard him. And as the final broadcasts went live, it was clear, the syndicate's reign was over. The world would never be the same. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough?